DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you this Wednesday. Another NorbCam Roundtable to talk another round of Seahawks off-season. Yes, we are into the off-season officially now, and boy, it has not started off slow, man, with Russell Wilson, talks of trades and being unhappy, and it just continues to go on. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the free agency situation with the Roundtable. We're talking about, Zack Ertz from the Eagles. Jamal Adams, should we re-sign him, and how much should he get paid? Of course, we've got J.J. Watt. Where will he possibly end up? And then, of course, Russell Wilson. We got to keep talking about that, too. So we're going to get into it, and I can't wait to get into it with the Roundtable today. So before we get into that, please, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, smash it, and hit that notification bell, and that way you won't miss a single video in the future. All right, here is the Roundtable. It's a little bit different today. We are missing a couple of the gang, and it's off season, so people got stuff going on, but we will continue to do this, and we may mix it up with different guests throughout the off season, because I know some people like Brian Apker is going to be busy probably up until draft time, so he'll be back in here. Seahawks Martin missing today, and Coach Marsh, we got some plans resetting for this week, and then we'll get back into it next week. So we've got a different looking Roundtable, but nonetheless, it is with the regulars. We've got, we'll start over here, right over my shoulder. We've got Steezy A. Smith. Steezy, always glad to have you back here, man.
Oh, it was a pleasure, big bro.
Hey, since we're doing this on the intro, why don't you tell everybody here what's going on, what you got going with your channel, what's new? I mean, I love the digs, man. You got a different setup. I know you've been talking about it for a while, so tell us about it. What you got going, man?
Yeah, so we've been, working on renovating my new place. Kind of just moved in a couple weeks ago. Finally got the desk set up. Finally got the chair set up. Finally got my PC. Next, I got to just install a webcam, hopefully get a green screen, get a new mic, and hopefully I can get things rolling with OBS. But yeah, it's been a real blast. We've spent so much time, so much work, just that we put into this new place, and I just can't wait to show it off. And I just dropped a video the other day. I'll talk more about it later today, but that's what's up with me.
All right. So I love it, though. Love it, man. It looks good. I can't wait to see more of your new setup with a new computer back there and everything. It looks great. So awesome. Love it. All right, let's go to the right. We've got Noah Boelter, of course, DJ Squabo in the house, sporting a little bit more underneath here. I didn't notice it last time, but you've been growing it out, going a little look there, man. What you got?
Well, someone in the Kahoot definitely noticed that. I remember seeing a neckbeard Noah was one of the names last week. But yeah, no, I'm growing it out a little bit. It's cold over here. Like you guys, I know Kent got a lot of snow. I'm really, super happy for you guys. We had a winter storm warning here in Pullman a couple days ago, and we got like more than a foot. So it's been pretty crazy over here too. So just trying to stay warm, and you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, all right. So anything new this week you got coming out and we should look out for?
Absolutely. After today's show, I'm going to be uploading a video on my channel about what it will take to keep Russ in Seattle. Relationship advice. Fixing and mending the relationship between Russell Wilson and Seahawks management.
I like it. Relationship advice. I mean, it is just, coming off of Valentine's Day. So hopefully they exchange some Valentine cards, give each other some candy and, work things out. So, all right. So last but certainly not least, we've got a guest panelist today, a knight to the round table. We've got Nick LeBeau, no stranger to the show. I'm glad to have Nick here filling in as we're missing a few people. So Nick, great to have you on here. Tell everybody about what you got going on your channel.
Yeah, Norb, thank you so much for having me on. And before you check me out, be sure to check out these guys. They work super hard. My channel is Seattle Sports Talk. I'd be honored if you guys went and subscribed or even just liked the video. Later this week, I do have a video coming out on the Seattle Seahawks goal to winning the offseason. So expect that from me.
All right, that sounds good. So yeah, let's get into this, man. It feels weird, you know, if we didn't have a game, you know, no, football's done, you know, so we're kind of in that hibernation mode now, where we really officially hit just like, okay, football really is finished now. It's really going to be now this, you know, slogging our way through free agency, and then the countdown to the draft, and then that long wait as we see if there's going to be off, you know, OTAs, and then we start getting excited when the summer starts to come, and then we start talking about, oh, the new schedule is coming out, and we're gonna have training camps coming up, and hopefully this year we'll be able to have more people at these things. You know, we'll find out soon enough. Right now it's still, like you said, Squabo, it's cold over there, but it's still pretty cold over here too. So you know, had the big snow this past weekend. That'll probably be the last snow, at least in our side of the things, but I know you guys still get a lot of snow, much more snow on the eastern side of the mountains. But let's talk about what's cold and what's heating up in the NFL. So, you know, we were talking yesterday, and Steezy was the one we were brainstorming some topics as we always do beforehand. And Steezy had just a slew of things saying, man, I said, what should we talk about this week? You know, and besides, you know, Russell Wilson and all these rumors, but it's like, yeah, you brought up the Zack Ertz, JJ Watt. So, Steezy, I'll start with you, man, since you kind of got the ball rolling. I want to start with the Zack Ertz speculation on where he might end up. Let's all just kind of jump in, but Steve, I'll let you get the ball rolling. What do you think? The Seahawks, Ertz, I hear, have talked about a potential, you know, him coming over here from the Eagles. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, considering the fact that our best tight end last year in terms of receiving yards was only 251 yards, I really think we need a lot more out of the tight end position. If even just the third pass catching position, whether that's a wide receiver or a tight end. Zack Ertz, he had a down year. He struggled immensely last year, dealt with injuries, a whole lot of things, but he's still a top 5 tight end in all of football. I mean, let's not forget, just a couple of years ago, he had 116 receptions for over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. He's still a very elite tight end in this game. And I forgot who mentioned this or who brought this up in the comment section. I think it was in last week's live stream. Somebody was like, when you look at the past couple of Super Bowl winners, these teams have had elite tight ends, if not Pro Bowl level tight ends. And I feel like, you know, that's one of the weaknesses that we currently have on his team. And getting a guy like Zack Ertz, who it shouldn't take too much to acquire him. I mean, as I said, he had a down year last year. He's in the last year of his deal. He wants a new place, a new change of scenery, if you will. And I think he'd fit in perfectly with Seattle as long as we don't have to give up anything more than, let's say, maybe a 4th round pick. I'd give up maybe even a 3rd round pick. And I know that we don't have too many picks going into this draft, and a lot of people are worried about that or concerned about that. But let's not forget, last year we had 4 picks heading into the draft, and we finished with 11 picks. And so even if we have to give up a little bit of draft capital for a top 5 tight end, I wouldn't mind at all, just because we'd be getting them at a discount regardless.
How about you, Nick? What do you think about Zack Ertz? You excited about this?
I got to agree with Steezy. Tight end is just a position that's kind of been mediocre in the latest years. You know, we had Will Dissly, who would play good and then get injured. Hollister has been playing okay, but he's not a number 1 tight end in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, we need a number 3 receiver because David Moore, he's pretty inconsistent. And yeah, like you said, teams that have won the Super Bowl, we saw Chiefs winning it, Travis Kelce, Gronk a few weeks ago had an awesome performance. We need a tight end. I would not mind giving up a 4th round pick. I don't know if I'd do a 4th for Ertz, but no, I definitely think the tight end position needs to be addressed.
Yeah, how about you, Squabo? Your thoughts? In agreement?
Yeah, I think it's important for us to bring in a couple of tight ends this offseason. I think Zack Ertz would be a great place to start. He's really good, obviously, at catching the football. And Russell Wilson needs a guy at the tight end position that's not going to drop balls. The past couple of years, we've had some pretty crucial drops throughout our seasons by tight ends. And last year, our tight ends were practically inept for the majority of the season. So I definitely agree with the 2 panelists, my 2 brothers, Nick LeBeau and Stevie A. Smith, that Zack Ertz would help fix a need. And for that reason, I'm willing to go all in and bring him in. Another guy that I look to that I'd want to bring in, and there's already been a whole lot of rumors because we just added Shane Waldron, but Gerald Everett is a free agent, and that'd be another guy I'd like to see come to Seattle and come compete. So Zack Ertz, Gerald Everett, that would be a nice tight end group heading into 2021.
Now, when we talked about tight ends last year, I have to kind of eat some crow because I said, I think we talked which position group is going to have the biggest impact this year. And I was so high on our tight end groups, man. I was already going, man, add Greg Olsen, and you got Will Dissly, who's going to have a huge year this year. And then who else were we talking about? Then we had the new guy that we had just drafted. Thought he was going to come up. Was it Parkinson? Parkinson.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to get some touches, and then of course we had well, you just talked about it. What was his?
Jacob Hollister.
Hollister, yeah.
He seems like he's always the guy you go, oh, he's definitely not a number one tight end. Yet somehow he seems to be the guy who gets the most action out of everybody. So, and I think Olsen, was really quite effective in terms of when he was there. But then it just seemed like he just it was actually shocking to see how little productivity we got out of him in terms of the actual numbers that he had. So he started off hot, and then it just seemed like it just sort of cooled down. And why do you think that was, that our entire tight end crew, which I think we were all pretty excited about, why was it not as productive as we had hoped? It wasn't like they all disappeared. Like last year, we all went, well, we had nothing except Jacob Hollister was the only one left. We had all besides Greg Olsen, Dissly was just, he had a couple of moments, but then he was really not there. What do you think? Was it the fact that Greg Olsen was there in front? Is Dissly just not who we thought he was going to be, and it was just a fluky first couple of hot starts to the first 2 years? What do you think? I'm when I look back at how much I was expecting from the tight end group and how much we actually got, why was it such what felt like an underperforming area? You got anyone could jump in on that one?
Yeah, no, I think the reason it was really more in the back half of the year. Brian Schottenheimer's offense didn't really utilize that tight end position. We were always going deep to our wide receivers, and it kind of left the tight ends the odd man out. Now, I do agree with you. I think it was kind of a mix of Greg Olsen being there and Greg Olsen kind of being done, and, and a mix of Dissly not necessarily being as great of a tight end as we thought he'd be due to the 2 starts in prior years. I think it was kind of a mix of all of that.
How about you, Steezy? What do you think? What was it? Why was the tight end group just not as productive as we hoped it would be?
Yeah, on top of what Nick had to say, I feel like with Will Dissly in particular, he was coming off a ruptured Achilles, and that's one of the worst, if not the worst, injury you can come back from, especially in football. And with Will Dissly, I think he just lacked a whole lot of explosion. Maybe one of the reasons why Brian Schottenheimer refused to involve the tight ends was because he just didn't have the personnel to get stuff done. Will Dissly, he lacked explosion. Greg Olsen suffered through numerous injuries throughout the year. Maybe he was just washed up. Jacob Hollister, as solid as he is, as clutch as he is, I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning team's number one tight end. And so maybe that's one of the reasons why Brian Schottenheimer just neglected the position altogether. You also look at the fact that Tyler Lockett had a franchise record 100 receptions. DK Metcalf had about 83 receptions. So that's about almost 200 receptions just between 2 guys. And so, as Nick said, the tight end position was kind of just the odd guys or odd men out.
Odd man out.
Yeah.
Odd department out. Squabble, what do you want to add to that? And quick acknowledgement to Chef Jack Attack in the Super Chat, our favorite chef from the East Coast. What's up, man? He says, yo, what's up? Thanks for joining the show, man. Thanks for the support. What do you think, Squabble?
Yeah, no, both of these gentlemen, once again, are hitting the nail on the head. Our tight end group was the odd man out a little bit. We didn't look to him very much, but we also didn't sustain our drives very much. We didn't have a lot of those long dink and duck drives, one play at a time, third down conversions, because we struggled on third down. That's why also we didn't have as many rush attempts as we wanted to last year. It wasn't because we weren't successful running the football. It's because we couldn't sustain drives and we couldn't convert on third down. So when you don't convert on third down, that takes away 3 more attempts at something, whether it be a pass or a rush, and those are passes that would be thrown to our tight ends, and because we weren't sustaining drives, we were unable to give them as many looks as we wanted. It was a combination of that with the fact that, like Steezy mentioned, 100 receptions for Tyler Lockett, the franchise record by 6 receptions, and then also DK Metcalf has a breakout season, most receiving yards in Seahawks history. So we had 2 really good targets, a really good number 1 and a really good number 2, and then we also wanted to run the football. So tight ends were like they said, the odd man out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's just, I thought back, do you guys remember that first game against Atlanta? And I don't know if you guys remember how good we looked offensively. We were doing everything. We were running the ball. We were throwing the ball. Tight ends were scoring touchdowns, deep receiver touchdowns. Chris Carson out of the backfield scoring touchdowns. It seemed like we were just using everything. And I guess that's the whole theme of how the season was. And we started off so hot where it seemed like we had every option to our disposal. And somewhere in that middle of the season, right about that Arizona game when we got our first loss, it just seemed like after that point, I don't know if it just teams figured us out or what, and we just never quite counter-adjusted. But man, I think back at the start of the year, and it's such a stark contrast. Not just tight ends, but just everything. There were so many things that we were doing at the beginning of the year we just couldn't do for whatever reason at the end of the year. Chef Jack Attack wants to know: are we doing calls? Yeah, we'll take some calls at the end before we do our trivia, which we are doing a trivia by Rishi H. Provided the trivia today. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I want to switch to the other big free agent name that's out there, J.J. Watt, unless you guys wanted to add anything else on Zack Ertz. It sounds like you guys are all pretty much unanimous decision that he's worth bringing in, and it pretty much would be a similar deal to a Greg Olsen, right? So it's nothing too outlandish, but I agree with you. Coach Marsh says the tight end is one of the most underrated positions in all of sports, and you see the teams that do go far, and it seems like they always have that, if not premier, at least a very productive tight end, right? You got the Super Bowl winners. The Bucks had one. The Kansas City Chiefs, they got Kelsey. You got just so many teams with, when you got that tight end that you can count on, it's a beautiful thing. And Russell Wilson, had Zach Miller there early on in his career. And after that point, I don't know, it just seemed like, Jimmy Graham slowly became, a scoring threat, but it was never obviously what everybody hoped him to be. But he's never really had that go-to guy, that guy where you just pair up. It's the Gronkowski Brady combo where it's like, oh, these guys are going to find a way to, when it's third down and you need to find that guy, he's going to be out there. So it would be pretty cool to have Russell find that guy who can solve be that big tight end target. And whether he's on there now or we bring in an Ertz, it would be nice to have one, at least one, preferably two. So let's talk about J.J. Watt. Big news about that. He formally announced that he was going to be parting ways with the Houston Texans. They didn't try to trade him. They just agreed, we're going to let you go and find your way. So I've been hearing a lot of talks about him going to Cleveland. I'm sure there's other teams, Pittsburgh potentially, where he can reunite with his brothers. But what do you guys think? Is Seattle even a possibility, or is it more just other teams that likely going to get their meat hooks into J.J. Watt? Let's start with let's start with Squabo on this one. Squabs, what do you think? Where is J.J. Watt going to end up?
Yeah, I think he goes to Green Bay. I think he goes to, unfortunately, right, guys, I hate to say it, but he wants to go to a competitor. He wants to go somewhere that's really good. He has history with Green Bay. He's from Green Bay. Just he so many connections to that franchise. There are other places around the NFL that I could see him ending up. People have talked about him going to Pittsburgh potentially, but their quarterback situation is a mess. Even though he could be with his brothers, and then in Cleveland as well, he could be along a really good defensive line and a really good pass rush. But honestly, I think Green Bay is the place that you go. He knows a thing or two about playing with a really good quarterback because he played there before and then during the Deshaun Watson era, and he saw the difference that he can make. Now, imagine having a great quarterback coming off an MVP season with a solid head coach, at least a winning head coach. So I think it works out for J.J. Watt, and I think he goes to Green Bay, unfortunately. Or Tampa. Tampa's a sleeper, too. Tampa is an option.
I was going to say that.
Oh, man. Well, Chef Jack Attack says he goes to Green Bay. It's not even a question. So Chef Jack Attack in the Super Chat agrees with you wholeheartedly, Squabo. But Steezy, you sounded pretty disappointed hearing that Green Bay thing. Anytime we hear Green Bay getting an upgrade on anything is always a disappointment. But what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, when you look at Green Bay, typically they're not one to invest in free agents. They usually like to build through the draft, but seeing as how Aaron Rodgers has kind of forced the front office's hand, I could see them making a run for J.J. Watt. However, JJ Watt gave up $17 million this year to play for. He gave up $17 million and being released. And initially, I was a little confused. I was like, why didn't Houston trade JJ Watt? But then I realized they did him a favor because at least now he gets a head start in free agency. He gets to sign with whoever, whenever, and he gets to choose where he wants to go rather than be traded to a team that maybe he didn't want to go to. And so with Green Bay, the only problem I have with him going to Green Bay, not just because obviously we all hate the Packers, but they're in the red in terms of their cap situation. I think they're like negative, $14 million. And so they're going to have to make some moves. They're going to have to restructure some contracts, release some guys if they're going to make a move for JJ Watt. Just because I have a hard time believing that he's going to give up $17 million this year to play for significantly less amount of money. He's going to have to play for less than $17 million. But if Green Bay is going to fit him into the cap, they're going to have to make a lot of moves before that's even feasible. And so I was going to say Tampa Bay as a sleeper, as Squabble mentioned, just because I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign all of their free agents. Shaquille Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, Levante David, and then guys on offense, Gronk, AB, playoff Lenny, Chris Godwin. They have so many free agents to address, and there's no way they bring back all those guys. And so if they were to lose a couple of guys on defense, maybe they look to JJ Watt. I'm also looking at the Chiefs as well. But I like Cleveland. I think Cleveland, not only do they have the cap space, they have the need. They have a superstar pass rusher in Myles Garrett. They're an up-and-comer in the AFC. He gets to remain in the AFC. Maybe he goes up against Houston sometime next year, if not the year after. And so I think Cleveland is a very feasible destination. And obviously Seattle, I know we don't run a 3-4 defense, and ideally he'd want to play in a 3-4. But maybe, he could look to change things up considering that he's kind of in the last couple of years of his career. So I'd say Cleveland, Tampa, Kansas City, Seattle. Those are some of my teams in the mix for JJ.
How many years do you guys think he's got left? I mean, he's 32? 32,
yeah,
right? Going on 33 here? He'll be 33
or he might be 31 going on 32.
in next month. So, yeah, he's kind of, I don't know how many years he's got left, but obviously he's going to want to play for a winner, right? I mean, he's been in Houston all these years, and he wants to see what it's like to get a taste of some playoff success. So, yeah, the choices obviously are going to be somewhat limited, but it would be a heck of a story, though, if he actually did end up in Pittsburgh, to have all those brothers all playing together. That'd be a story by itself, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best fit. It would definitely create Thanksgiving meal rivals to have them if he actually went to Cleveland. And those guys have to face each other, multiple times a year. That would just be crazy. But make for some good, interesting rivalries throughout the course of the year. Nick, what about you? What's your thoughts on JJ Watt? Any different thoughts on what team he goes to?
Well, first off, I don't see the Seahawks getting him. I don't think he comes here, and I don't want to pay him. I'd rather pay to keep the defense that we already have intact by re-signing Shaquille Griffin, KJ Wright, those guys. But in teams that he could go to, I think that he could possibly go to the Bills. Now, the Bills, they need that kind of inside rusher, and they're a good team. Josh Allen, up-and-coming QB. So I could see him going there. I could also see him going to Miami. They kind of have that need for an inside guy. Brian Flores, defensive-minded head coach. I could also see as much as I hate,
they still got cap room, don't they? The Dolphins.
Oh yeah, they still have
so
cap.
they could definitely afford to bring him on.
I could also see, as much as I hate to say it, this team would have to make some moves for it. LA, the Rams.
Oh.
That's kind of my bottom of the list team. God forbid he comes here or comes to the Rams. Him and Aaron Donald would be unstoppable. And yeah, the Rams. Finally, I think he does end up going to the Bills.
Chef Jack Attack agrees he ain't going to the Seahawks, and I would agree with you there. The Rams are interesting because, man, I don't know how they work it because they got so much money tied up in players. I don't know. They're going to have to work some major cap magic to get all these numbers to line up. They're paying so many high salaries over there, and of course with the Matthew Stafford deal, I don't know how they're going to work all that to make all those numbers line up. And it does look like the salary cap this year is going to drop a little bit, isn't it? Isn't it pretty much? There was talk that it was going to significantly drop. Then they thought it might go up a little bit, but I think now it's determined it will drop a little for the first time in I don't know how long it's been. The cap always goes up every year, so teams are definitely going to be strapped to try to keep these numbers to make them work out. Yeah, I wanted to mention something. Our moderator, faithful moderator, Alina Dahl, in the super chat. Norb, did you see the news I emailed you? You might want to mention it. Let me see if I can pull that up, the actual email itself. It was very interesting what she had to say, because I've not seen this, and she's got some inside information that you guys might find a little bit fascinating. Let's see if I can find it in here, the actual email. Otherwise, I'll just mention what the story's about. I had it in here somewhere, and I can't seem to find it.
They're saying what to the Steelers?
I saw that. I just checked.
What, is that breaking?
I haven't seen anything that says that.
Was there something breaking about that, or is this just still more speculation?
I think they're talking about, because the Padres got someone for
Fernando Tatis for 13 years and $340 million.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Man, baseball salary is crazy. All right, so here we go. I'm going to read this. So this is some breaking news. It'll be cool if we get ahead of this, ahead of all the other news outlets. So Lena emailed me to my norb@norbcam.com. She says, "Hey Norb, you should be seeing news soon that Golden Tate is re-signing with the Hawks for $1 to $2 million. My boyfriend has a good authority on it. He spoke to Golden himself. And they have been friends for years. It's not finalized, but it should be. So have a wonderful day." So wow, none of you guys have heard this, right?
No,
she said she knows someone that knows.
She said her boyfriend actually is not only authority on it. He's actually spoken to Golden himself and says this deal is all but done. But man, you heard it here first, because nobody's talking about Golden Tate coming back to the Seahawks. Boy, that's not a free agent move. I would have thought, here's a guy we need to get back to Seattle. But, I don't know. What do you guys think? It's kind of in a name that, we went to Detroit and bounced around a little bit. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think, and then Chef Jack Attack brings up the whole thing about what happened back in the old rumor from 2012 about how there was a little some hanky-panky going on between his former, his ex-wife, and, that they got, into it, and that's the reason maybe why he left. That's what Chef Jack Attack says. I thought he hates Russ. So, boy, I mean, that is interesting. I would never thought in a million years that would be the case. So we'll obviously have to wait to see if it's confirmed. Wait, here we go. Lena just said, "I just verified with my boyfriend 5 minutes ago." So she is doubling down on this story that Golden Tate is going to be signing with the Seahawks for $1 to $2 million, something in that range of salary. What do you guys? I mean, if it came from Alina, that's pretty reliable source. What's your guys' thoughts on that? This kind of just hits me like, wow, I did not see that one coming. Squavo, thoughts? Are you happy, excited, befuddled? What do you think?
I feel like this is the biggest sign we've seen that maybe they do want to trade Russ.
Oh no!
Look. I'm not going to get too excited about Golden Tate. He's been a non-factor. He's been he's too cocky. He's a locker room problem. I'm not a big fan of Golden Tate anymore. He was good for our run, but he hasn't been the same ever since. And he's been he's just been stuck up on the field. So I actually hope that that's not the case.
How about you, Steezy?
I remember when he left the team, there were rumors of him, potentially trying to get on with Russ's wife at the time. And I think that was one of the things that led to their divorce. But, Russ has a new wife in town, and, hopefully they're behind that. But no, with Golden Tate, one of the things that I wanted for us to attack in free agency or the draft was a slot receiver, a guy that could create separation, within a couple yards off the line of scrimmage, and kind of give Russ that quick outlet, that quick pass. And I think Golden Tate, maybe he's washed, maybe he's a cancer, but I think that at this point in his career, I mean, he should start to realize that his career could be dwindling down, and this could be his very last stop before teams start to realize, he does a lot more harm than good. And I think that coming back to Seattle, coming back home, I think it'll end up paying dividends. And I'm over here on Yahoo Sports right now. It was just uploaded about a day ago. Golden Tate could reunite with the Seattle Seahawks in free agency. And so there's definitely some substance in what Alina's saying. And I'm not super excited about it, but I think it definitely feels a need. At least he's somewhat reliable. He's not very injury prone, and I think that he brings a little bit of familiarity to the offense, and hopefully him and Russ are behind, whatever was going on. But overall, I like the move. Whenever it happens.
Interesting. Paul Hanna in the Super Chat says, Hawks need a run game. Hyde and Carson are average. Nick LeBeau, your thoughts? Golden Tate, excited? Pissed? Don't care? What do you think?
I'm kind of surprised. I did not expect us to reunite with Golden Tate just because of the drama that happened in 2012. But then, if this is true, it makes me think the drama in 2012 must have been a lot over dramatized, fake. I don't really see him as a number 3 receiver, maybe a number 4. I don't know. Sure, I'll take him. Right. I think I probably rather would have paid Philip Dorsett that contract because he's a lot younger, but who knows? I'm not happy, but I'm not mad.
Yeah, I was just kind of so. I guess at $1 to $2 million, depending if that's the range, it's not much, right? It's a pretty minimal amount. Yeah, it's kind of a name that we haven't really talked about much, and I just don't know how productive has he been. Let's just take a quick peek here and see what he's been up to. But it's just
not very productive.
You just you're right. He hasn't been injury prone, but at the same time, he hasn't really done that much. So it's just kind of, he's been 10 years in the league now. Back in the day, he was a great punt returner for Seattle. I don't know if he can do that anymore, but I don't think so. But, it's just... or does he?
Golden Tate... No. Actually, last year, Stacey, you'll remember this. Last year in fantasy, Golden Tate was actually a quintessential piece in my trade for Julio Jones. He was a key piece of the package last year. So he actually has been doing something, at least in the NFL the last couple of years.
Well, let's look here. The one thing that's been consistent, he's definitely. He missed some time back in 2000. Well, no, he has split. No, he's been he's barely missed games. In 2019, he played 11 games. And last year, played 12 games. Productivity-wise, 388 yards, 35 receptions. So nothing real explosive. A couple touchdowns. But, I don't know, like you said, maybe a number 4 receiver. I guess, could be something. But we'll see. It's just, I'm just excited that we could be breaking the news before anybody else does. So you heard it here first. Chef Jack Attack in the Super Chat says, I think Watt goes to the Steelers. Again, that's the brotherly love destination if he goes there. And Alina Dahl follows up in the Super Chat, says, Golden liked someone's post that he should be traded or something like that, and he was benched for the next game. He's only been with them a year. Huh. Interesting. Wow. Getting benched for liking a post. Well, you just never know what you... Got to be careful these days, man. Social media. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that news. Very unexpected for the day. So let's shift gears now. Let's go to the Seahawks. There's been a lot of talk, kind of almost in hand. Russell Wilson, Jamal Adams. One deal may affect the other kind of thing because of the fact that there's this rumor that maybe the Seahawks could go to the Jets. It's some kind of, it was First Things First or whatever. I think they're the ones who threw this concept of the idea that Garoppolo comes to Seattle and then, they get Watson and then.
That was so atrocious.
Talk about just clickbait, man. Let's just throw this out here and see what catches on. So all of a sudden, I got people blowing my phone. Hey, that's not true, man. Russell Wilson's going to go to the Jets. What's going on, man? So let's talk about that right here. Now, the problem here is I don't have Coach Marsh on the show, and Coach Marsh is on this topic surprisingly on the side of I think Steezy, Squabo, and I would assume Nick as well. We are all of the feeling that Russell Wilson's not going anywhere, at least not in the foreseeable future. Yeah. Coach Marsh almost guaranteed. He said in a year from now, and that was last week. He said in a year from now, Russell Wilson will no longer be with the Seahawks. And I said, if something happens, or should this or this happen? He goes, no. Regardless of what they do this season, that Russell Wilson will be gone in a year. So That's a pretty bold statement. I know a lot of people got riled up in the comments about that. So let's talk about this. Maybe they're independent situations, but potentially correlated. Russell Wilson to the Jets, and then Jamal Adams. I guess let's just hit the rumor on the head right now. Let's just talk about this whole Russell Wilson thing. Does anybody here believe that Russell Wilson is not going to at least play out the rest of this contract? Does anybody think he's being traded anytime soon? Because if you guys do think so, you need to speak up right now. Does anybody believe that?
I actually believe the contrary. I have like a bold prediction to go with it. Like, I believe that Seattle is going to submit to his will, and I believe we're going to spend like close to $10 million, somewhere around the lines of like $6 to $9 million for a brand new center, listening to his wishes this offseason. So
the opposite. Instead of why should we be letting him decide things? Let's help him to make decisions. Okay. How about you, Nick? You weren't here with us last week when we did the panel, obviously, but Coach Marsh was the lone wolf saying this stuff about Russell Wilson being gone. What do you think? Russell here to stay for at least a while?
For at least to the end of his contract. I don't see us trading. I don't see him demanding a trade unless, like, everything goes bad. I agree, Squabbo. I think we're going to go out there, show our devotion to Russ, get him some offensive linemen, get him some protection. No, I don't see him leaving anytime soon.
Stacey, you make this unanimous, man?
Yeah, y'all want to talk about a bold prediction? I think so. He has 3 years left on his contract, right? I think we win at least one Super Bowl in the next couple of years, which I think will be enough to entice him to want to remain in Seattle for the remainder of his career. As long as we either do that or we cede not all control, but at least start catering to him a lot more, just like how some of these other teams do for their franchise quarterbacks. I think as long as we're able to do one of the two, if not both, he'll be a Seattle Seahawks for not only the foreseeable future, but for the entirety of his career. I mean, he didn't ask for a trade, and some of the latest rumors that are coming out of, what's going on between the Hawks and Russell is that the situation remains fluid right now. And Russ has to understand that if the Seahawks were to trade Russell Wilson, they would take a $39 million cap hit. And there's just no way Seattle is taking that much in terms of dead cap space. Like, to waste $39 million to get rid of a player, I mean, my goodness, I don't think any team would want to have just $39 million in dead cap space. I mean, maybe the one situation in which that could potentially be enticing is, maybe we trade Russell Wilson to the Jets for a package that includes our original first rounder back, the number 2 overall pick, our future first rounder next year, Sam Darnold, and maybe some other pieces, maybe even to the Dolphins for Tua, the 3rd overall pick, their 18th overall pick, a future first. I mean, if a situation like that or a scenario like that were to arise, I'd actually give a little bit more consideration to trading Russ, just because we'd get a plethora of first-round picks, a young quarterback, more cap space, and in the future, and yeah, something like that. But I don't think that's very likely. And so, right now, I think everything's all good as long as we use this offseason to cater to him, to protect him, to add a few more pass catchers, to kind of let him run things a little bit more per se. But yeah, I think he's in Seattle for the next 3 years, and I think we win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years as well.
I would love to see that happen. I'm with you guys as well. I think we've had, how many times have we been down the boy who cried wolf when it comes to Russell Wilson leaving Seattle, right? How many times have we heard, he's going to the Giants. It's all Sierra's fault. And then, where was that time when he was going to get traded to Cleveland? Remember that deal that came out? It was like 3 or 4 years ago, all that stuff. So, it's not the first time, and I'm sure teams are going to inquire. They can always ask, right? But again, it goes back to that whole the interview, and I'll stand by my side, by my thoughts that I never thought that what he said was that egregious, that he was really throwing his team under the bus. Even when I listened to what he actually said, he did say a few things that obviously could be taken a certain way, but they weren't like, completely just complaining up and down about how his offensive line sucks, or that he, he needs to be in control. It was Dan Patrick really pushing that. I mean, it would be like me telling Nick, so Nick, do you like being on this show? And you're going to say, Yeah, I do like it. No, I mean, but do you like really love being on the show? Like it's the most important thing in your life that you would drop everything to be on my show. Is that how you feel? And if you were to say, well, I do have school, so I have to kind of, work on things. I might put a headline on, Nick LeBeau does not think NorbCam is important. I mean, it would be that sort of level of extrapolating a clickbait headline out of a morsel of a soundbite that didn't even really say anything close to what the magnitude of what they're implying. Now, my concern is in that renewal of that next contract 3 years from now, because I do believe that if we don't win a Super Bowl, or if we're at least not playing in one and closer than we've been the last 7-8 seasons, I will be a little bit concerned at that point, because I think then Russell might be getting that itch like, well, if it's not happening here, and I guess it depends on why it's not happening. If it's because he continues to get sacked, or, we just keep having bad drafts that just don't amount to what we need them to be, then I might be concerned, like, yeah, Russell might feel like, well, this team, while they've been trying to make things work, they just haven't been making it happen. They just not been making the right moves, or not been drafting well. Then it made my concern, like, he may not want to come back to renew that next contract. I hope it's not the case. And I think, Steve, you're right. If we get a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, why wouldn't he come back at that point, right?
Exactly.
So that's my hope anyway. I don't know about you guys, but I still hope that Russell will be a career Seahawk and will play till he's another 10 or 15 years and do like the Brady thing. Somebody sent me a message, a comment or an email, but they were talking about comparisons to Tom Brady. How, Tom Brady won. He was drafted in 2000, and he won those first 3 Super Bowls, and then he went on that 10-year stretch where he didn't win anything, right, until Super Bowl 49, and so. That was that stretch where, he was actually making his most money. And, it's sort of that place that Russell's kind of been in the last few years. And, and all of a sudden Tom Brady gets hot the last few years where he's won a whole bunch of them. So, Russell's maybe his best years coming up here in terms of what I'm hoping is that he'll want to resign. And because now he won't even need to be the highest paid, because if there's any one thing or two things that I hope Russell Wilson will think about, at least if not in the immediate, one is in the immediate future and the next is his next contract, is one, he's definitely got to address that hanging on the ball too long, because we do know that a lot of those sacks are Russell Wilson's fault. I'm sure he knows that, and hopefully the scheme that they'll come up with will help alleviate that issue. For whatever reason, he's not throwing the ball right away and then holding on to it too long. That's number one. He's got to be aware of that. And number two, I just hope his agent and him don't feel like they have to still play I have to be the highest paid quarterback, period, at that point when the renewal comes, right? Because if he does, it's going to be a lot harder to keep building the right pieces around him if that money is just so much going to Russell Wilson's pocketbook, right? And if you're going to compare it to the Tom Brady thing, Tom Brady, as we all know, is legendary for how he gave up his own personal salary to allow the team to have more, money to free up to spend for other players. So, and I don't think he's hurting for bucks. So I think he could afford to spread the wealth around a little bit. So I'm hoping that when it comes time for that will play into it, and that he's not going to just go for the biggest number just because he wants to have that. So before we go on to Jamal Adams, anything else you guys want to add about Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, just to go along with Steezy's side, because I agree with Steezy, and I want to just put that out there. Like, I think we win one in the next 3, and then I think after we win one in the next 3, with Russell's new contract, he does take a little bit of a pay cut, and he either pushes money down the line to where the salary cap's going to be a lot higher, or he doesn't try and even reset the market or anything like that. Like, he takes a team-friendly deal, and he will publicly comment about it, saying that he wants to get guys around him to compete for another Super Bowl.
And real quick, Norb, guys want to talk about how they felt like Russell Wilson threw his team under the bus. Well, yeah, in a lot of people's eyes, he might have done that. I feel like he kind of did to a certain extent, to a very lesser extent. But, I mean, you guys want to talk about throwing a team or a unit under the bus. Look at what Patrick Mahomes said after the Super Bowl. Did anybody hear his press conference after the Super Bowl? I mean, Spark and I talked about it on the boat this past Saturday, but I mean, if you don't want to hear about throwing your team under the bus, go listen to Patrick Mahomes in his press conference after the Super Bowl, because I believe that's throwing the team under the bus.
100% agree with you, Steezy.
Yeah, and Nick, do you want to add anything else to that, to the Russell conversation before we switch to Jamal?
No, I mean, I agree with everything that was said. I think we win one in the next 3 or 4. He re-signs. And the thing is we can still get him offensive linemen without asking him to give up money, because we have a lot of salary cap flexibility this year, and I think we do that.
So Alina Dahl, who had the breaking news about Golden Tate, she says in the super chat, you guys think Russ would give up money to get a better O-line?
Oh, yeah.
It makes sense, right? I mean, it's not like they would be to help him, right? Because it's to protect him.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would like to think that would be that you're investing in yourself. You're investing in your longevity by having better protection, right? It's like investing in an alarm system or a security system for your house, right? You're protecting, we must protect this house. And so if you don't have the protection, you know, it doesn't grow on trees. So, you know, I'd like to think that Russ would be willing to do that. And boy, I just think of every quarterback who's going for the big money. I think we all know that if we're in the same position, wouldn't we all like to get the highest amount paid? Of course we would, right?
Yeah.
But we also, in our jobs, don't have to worry about guys trying to kill us either. So if I knew that I was in a job where somebody's going to be trying to knock my brains loose with every hit, I might hire a security guard or a bodyguard, somebody to help watch my back in case, you know, I know these guys are coming after me. So it's kind of like that. It's a little bit of a, protection and some security, a little bit of, maybe some body armor, some, Kevlar in case someone's going to shoot at me. You know, if you're in that position where you're going to be hunted, you got to be protected, right? The president of the United States, he's got his security team, he's got his detail, he's got all these guys watch his back. Well, taxpayers pay for that, but Russell Wilson, he's got money and someone's got to pay for it, and there's a limit on that. So yeah, I'm with you. I would like to think he'd see that as a good investment. So, and then what else? We had Chef Jack Attack says, I got an opinion on Russ when I get on Discord. All right, so let's do this, because I did say we're going to take some calls. Let's take a couple calls here, and then we'll finish up with Jamal Adams and then do trivia. All right, trivia by Rishi H. So let's go to Devin. I'm looking for Chef Jack Attack. He said he was going to talk on Discord. He's not there yet. So in the meantime, let me bring up. Oh, there's Chef Jack Attack. Let's start with you. Chef Jack, are you there?
Yo, what's up, Norb?
There he is, Chef Jack Attack. You've been very busy in the super chat, agreeing and disagreeing on some points. You said you have an opinion on Russell Wilson. What is it?
Yes. Okay. So, let's just say this. You guys make a good point about throwing a team under a bus. I mean, that's what Patrick Mahomes did. Now, Russell Wilson is the most boring guy when it comes to a press conference. Like, he's not so good for the media because he's like the nice guy. Whatever's best for the team, go Hawks. That's what he always says. Whatever's best for the team, go Hawks. He's allowed to say a little bit more. People are definitely, saying this is something crazy, but it's not. He's allowed to say something. He is a top 5 quarterback in the league, and then when he is coached right, the best quarterback in the world. So he's allowed to say if he's not happy or not, okay? Now, listen, I don't live in Seattle. I've never been to Seattle. I heard it's a great, great city.
It's a great city.
Why does everyone... I'm going to say this. Ready? Ready? I'm going to say this. Pete Carroll, now, I blame a lot of our losses on Pete Carroll. And for some reason, everyone that is like a big Seahawks fan likes to defend him. Now, I don't know your guys' opinions, but I feel like most people always defend Pete Carroll, but I think a lot of it is on Pete Carroll. Or you think it's on Russ?
Good question there. So this is a good debated issue. Is it the coach versus the quarterback? And I know we've talked about this in the past. It's but the Brady Belichick thing. We've never seen Russ without Pete Carroll. We've seen Pete Carroll without Russ. His first 2 years with the Seahawks. What was his record?
We're not good.
7-9. And Russ shows up, and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs. Is that necessarily one causing the other? Let's have the panel address that. Steezy, why don't you start? I guess the question is, who's to blame more for why we haven't had more success? Is it
definitely Pete Carroll? That's all I'm saying.
So Chef thinks it's Pete Carroll. Do you think it's Russ? What's your take on it? Where's the blame fall more on if you had to pick a side?
Obviously, I believe that both guys receive, blame. But if I'm going to have to pick who gets the majority of the blame, I'd have to go with Coach Pete Carroll. I mean, he's trying to run a very outdated offense in a modernized NFL that's very pass happy. And he keeps trying to implement things that worked in the past into now. And I mean, like I said in my last video, we're 1-4 in the last, couple of years in the playoffs. So obviously something isn't working. And I feel like Pete Carroll, he's kind of been holding Russ back this whole time. I mean, you look back to last year, we let Russ cook. We gave him the keys to a Lamborghini for the first 7 to 8 games. After that, after he had a couple of infractions, maybe after a couple of tickets, it's like, oh no, never mind. Let me take those keys back. We'll give you the we'll put on some training wheels for you again. Like, imagine if someone gave you the keys to a Lambo, right, for 7 to 8 weeks, and then after maybe a couple of tickets, they take it away. They take it away from you, and you never see it again. And I feel like that's kind of what happened last year. And then when Russell Wilson, a top 5 quarterback, if not a top 3 quarterback in football, he had his Lamborghini taken away from him. And he's like, why? And maybe that was one of the reasons why he was depressed. Maybe that was one of the reasons why he was so down, because he was like, my head coach lost all his faith in me. And instead, he wanted to revert back to a formula that has produced a 1-4 record in the last couple of years in the playoffs. Pete Carroll is so insistent on trying to be a run-first team, a defense-first team, which I'm cool with. I want us to run the football. I want us to play solid defense. But when you look at your personnel, our personnel isn't built like that no more. We don't have an elite defense. We don't have an elite run blocking offensive line. We don't have some of the pieces that we had back then. And so Pete Carroll keeps, and the people that defend Pete Carroll keep saying that, oh yeah, he brought home, 2 Super Bowl appearances for us. He brought home a ring for us. And that ring was built on a ground game and a defense. Well, back then we had an elite running back in Marshawn Lynch. Back then we had an elite defense. Now we don't have any of those things. We don't have an elite defense. We don't have an elite running back. And so I definitely think, a majority of the blame goes to Pete Carroll. I think that he's been holding Russell Wilson back for the last couple of years.
But hold on, Steezy. So here's the thing. So what I want to look at is, where's the point at which he took the keys away from the Lambo from Russell Wilson? I think he's more of a Rolls Royce guy, by the way. But he, actually, I don't know what he drives. But because at what point did it become evident that he took the keys away? Because to me, the turning point was the Arizona game, right? We were still cooking because we scored how many points we scored in that game? 30-something high points in that one, and we lost in overtime, right? And we were still throwing the ball all over the place. Russell Wilson was dropping dimes to Tyler Lockett. But what also happened that day? That was the day when we discovered our vulnerability. That's when the kryptonite showed up for the first time. Russell Wilson getting blitzed and confused, and these blitzing and dropping guys back, and then Russell Wilson threw those interceptions, the costly ones, especially at the end when he had a chance to win it in overtime. Down the stretch of the game, through the interception that should have been a touchdown to Chris Carson, it floated it up, and then it resulted in the DK Metcalf gazelle cheetah chasing play, which we all love, but should never have happened. But it wasn't like that game's the keys were taken away in that game. That was when it revealed it. But then after that, we just continued to get sacked and continued to throw interceptions. So I almost felt like Russell needed to stop driving so fast, because he was being part of the problem, which was getting sacked, and as a result, fumbling, throwing interceptions. So I don't know if it was so much that Pete Carroll said, no more for you, but it was because that wasn't working, because suddenly the pressure was getting to him. That call me crazy, but Squabble, you had a thought on that, but I'm trying to get away that, is it so black and white that Pete Carroll just said, nope, we're just going to run the ball 40 times a game? Because they certainly didn't do that either. So Squabs, go ahead, jump in, and Steve, you can defend yourself as well. But I want Squabs got something to say, so let's see what Squabs got.
It is crazy. It is crazy how the terminology that you just used. You said Russell Wilson is driving too fast. That goes perfectly with the analogy that I was about to bring to the table, because I agree to Steve's, but I want to shed some light on this situation, because it's not all on Pete Carroll and it's not all on Russell Wilson. I agree that it is more on Pete Carroll, but I liken it. Pete Carroll is Mother Nature, and Russell Wilson is a bus driver. Russell Wilson has the rest of the Seahawks in the back of the bus, and he's leading the way. Where he takes us is where Seattle goes. If he drives safe, we can make it to the destination, the promised land, where we're trying to go. But if Pete Carroll is not doing the things that he needs to do, not getting those offensive linemen to communicate, not teaching the backup running back DJ Dallas his assignments on blitzes and different coverages that allow Russell Wilson to get sacked immediately after the line of scrimmage, when Mother Nature is upset and he starts to put snow everywhere, like you guys know in Kent, because it just got all snowy over there for the first time in a while. So you guys got the snow, and it makes driving conditions a lot more difficult. So what we're seeing here and what we saw happen was Pete Carroll let it get all snowy, and Russell Wilson, as the driver, like you said, started driving too fast. He overcompensated a little bit because he started spinning out. And when you start spinning out, if you press on the gas, you're going to spin out even faster, and that's not the right thing to do. So it was because of what happened. Pete Carroll started it for sure. But then what we saw, and the play that defines our entire season, the 2-play series that I talk about in my video coming out that define our entire season. In overtime, the first play, DJ Dallas misses a block on an all-out blitz. Russell Wilson gets sacked immediately after the snap. This is for our first loss of the season. The next play, Russell Wilson sees ghosts. He expects to get blitzed. They show blitz. Last snap, he had no time, so this time he's expecting no time. They don't blitz, but he gets rid of it, expecting no time. It's a turnover. We end up losing that ball game. So it's not all on Russ. It's not all on Pete. Pete started it. Pete deserves the majority of the blame. But if you start to spin out in the snow, don't press on the gas. Just ease out. Start to try and find your brake. Try and get control back. And we saw a snowball effect on the field.
When you mentioned DJ Dallas, who was very instrumental in that play that you talked about, how he just completely didn't know what he was doing back there. But how is that Pete Carroll's fault when the reason he was back there doing it is because Travis Homer, who was our excellent backfield running back pass protector, was injured and out of that game. So they had to put DJ Dallas in, who obviously was not ready for that situation. Now, I don't know whose fault that is. Is that a running back's coach fault? Is that Pete Carroll's fault? But whatever it is, we were also victim to, you said Mother Nature. He called Pete Carroll Mother Nature. That's more like Father Nature. Well, there's another nature above that, and that's like act of God, right? Because the injuries, nobody could control that, right? And that was the situation that caused that.
That's an example, though. The DJ Dallas play is just an example, though. There were, and we've talked about it a million times, just the fundamental issues throughout the season, missed communication amongst the offensive line. Our personnel were not as bad as they played at times throughout that season. So I thought it was a bunch of little things that Pete Carroll was doing. Like, it wasn't just on that play. That play is just a specific example where Pete Carroll's coaching, in the end, hurt Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I do want to bring in, not that this is an excuse, but to elaborate more on the injury side of things, particularly with the offensive line. We had injuries to the offensive line midway through the season. And what we started, because we talked about how in the beginning of the year we had this group that was intact, and then it became, at the end of the year, we got them back for that final game, right? But the problem was they hadn't played for most of the year together, and it looked like they weren't in sync. So having that line actually together wasn't really the key. It was the fact that they hadn't played together intact through the season that was part of the problem. So again, here's the thing about offensive lines. I think we all know that there's a certain rhythm, a certain gel that you need to have where by them playing with each other consistently over time, they get better and better. Well, if we keep changing things up and switching guys out. I mean, how many centers have we had over the last 3 years, right? We've had like 3 different centers from Justin Britt. Then we had to go to little dude. What was his name? The short guy, Joey Hunt. And then we went to Ethan Posick. And then we went to somebody. I mean, we've had maybe 4 centers, right? And we were supposed to have a brand new center in BJ Finney, and he didn't even play a snap because apparently he didn't figure things out, and he was gone before he even started. So we've had a lot of lack of continuity, not just in that one position, but in the offensive line. And whenever you have that, it's going to be tough to get that thing where everybody's lockstep and and solid. So that's also part of it, where I think trying to constantly change and overhaul the line every single year cannot necessarily be productive either, because if they don't play together, it may not be the talent. It may be the fact that they're not just need more time to play as a unit. So anyway, it's just because everyone just wants to blow up the whole offensive line, just get a whole new line in there. Well, you really can't do that. A, you can't afford it, and 2, you got to have some continuity with some of the guys that you have. So, it's a tricky thing. But and that some of that falls on John Schneider when it comes to drafting and picking picks and all that stuff. So, anyway, that's an interesting discussion. That Chef Jack Attack brought up in the first place. Russell Wilson versus Pete Carroll. Let's go to some more calls here. I want to go to my buddy Devin, who's always there on the game watch parties, and he's here on the roundtable. Devin, you there? Devin.
What's going on?
Devin, welcome to the Roundtable Show. Man, it's good to hear from you. What's on your mind today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
What you got? You got a question? You got a comment? What? How do you want to weigh in on this talk today? We're all over the place.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of stuff like how free agency is going to go with us, and Russell pleading that how many times he's been sacked, and I just think if he takes the money down, we could be able to afford maybe one, maybe two of the offensive linemen. I've been looking at Joe Thuney, who's been solid for the Patriots, and Lindsey. He's nice too. So, because I think Russell Wilson, I don't think he needs that many weapons to make it work for him. I think he needs protection, and if he has protection, I think we give him protection. So, for example, if DK and all that weren't there, and they had some good pieces, not great pieces, he could still make it work if he had a line. So, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say right now because, I don't know. I just need a question to go off of, but yeah. So far, it's looking interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. Russell has worked. Yeah. He's done more with less before, right? We've never really had. DK's been that dream. Oh, he finally got the big-bodied receiver, a true eventual number one. Could be like a Calvin Johnson one day. And we've never had that, right? We've never really had that big-bodied receiver. And when we finally got him, of course, he was complaining a lot during that last game that caused a pick six. But besides that, we know what he could be. And so I don't think it's a lack of weapons. It is the combination, though. And I think that tight end we were talking about, there's that aspect of things. And it's the total team game. You have so many parts that have to work together, because if you have one part that breaks down, it doesn't matter how great the other parts are if you don't have at least solid, investments in every aspect. You just can't make it all in one. It's not like basketball where you can have one guy could take over a game and one or two guys and just dominate. You got to have everything. Because if one person doesn't do their job, it can fall apart. All right, let's go here to another question here too. It says, I've got a question/joke. All right, this should be interesting. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hawaii.
Okay, what's your name?
I don't really want to say.
I don't want to say. Oh, he wants to keep himself anonymous. Okay, it's to be named, unnamed from Hawaii. Okay, what do you got? You have a joke? Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah, because the joke is how much pirates pay for piercings?
How much do pilots get for? I didn't quite hear the last part.
Oh, pirates get for piercing?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Pay. Yeah.
How much?
A buccaneer.
Hey!
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. All right. It's not very often we get callers come in with jokes, so I gotta admire the effort there. Hey, let's get
There's a
Rain.
lot of pressure there too. Well done.
I know. I was afraid it was gonna be like a dirty joke because he wanted to give his name out in the air. So I was like, we're get ready for the dump button just in case. Okay, so let's go to Rain, our buddy Rain. Rain, what's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, Norb?
Hey, you know what? Just Russell Wilson going to the Jets, all that kind of stuff. What's on your mind, man?
You guys have great points here, like with the JJ Watt thing and the Russ thing. But if Russ were to go somewhere, and I know we have talks about the Jets, but other than the Jets, where do you think he would go?
So you're throwing a hypothetical on a situation that we don't even believe in.
Carolina.
Well, a place that needs a quarterback, right? A place that desperately in search of a franchise quarterback. Jets obviously is one of those. Yeah, like you said, Carolina.
I think Dallas.
Dallas has been in the conversation.
Dallas, yeah.
I don't think Dak is coming back.
I don't either.
San
the
Francisco.
The reason that I say Carolina is because I think we would want to package like 3 first-round picks because we got 2, or there were 2 for Stafford. So I think Russ at least deserves 3 then. And then you also want a quarterback. In Seattle, we like to run the football, and we want a game manager at quarterback. So Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey, 3 first-round picks, an additional 3rd. And I think that's the kind of deal that we'll want. Now, I understand the concern about trading within the conference. So if you could find that kind of deal from an AFC team like the Colts, then I think they're more likely to do that. But that's the kind of package that they would want. And the best package that I could see like that would be from Carolina right now.
What about Miami? Is Miami, because they got Tua, but it's just, it didn't seem like that was working out so good. So you guys kind of thought that could also be a possible landing spot?
Yeah,
you want to talk about the 3rd overall pick. You want to talk about the 18th overall pick. Tua Tagovailoa, who I think is the next Russell Wilson, and I still believe that to be the case. A rookie quarterback in his 2nd year, who would probably be the 2nd quarterback taken in this draft after Trevor Lawrence, if he was in this draft. So he's still on his rookie deal. Miami has a plethora of picks because they fleeced the Texans for Laramie Tunsil. And so they have a whole lot of Houston Texans picks. And if you're a franchise, you want a lot of Houston Texans draft picks. Because that franchise is so pathetic that those picks are going to be really good. And so the picks have a whole lot of, the Dolphins have a lot of picks to offer. They have the money to afford them. They have a need. And then we get a young quarterback in return. I'd love that.
Nick, you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I was just completely Miami. I think it makes the most sense, like Steezy said, Tua Tagovailoa, 3rd overall pick, possibly 18th. Like you said, they completely just took all of Houston's picks for Laramie Tunsil. I think Miami would probably be the best option for us because I think we'd get the most in return if we do trade with Miami. I don't want to trade Russ. I'll make that clear. But if I had to, I would probably call Miami first.
Plus, it seems like What's that, Steve?
AFC.
I need another player on that package and another first.
Yeah, we need a king's ransom for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. That's just the start. That's for starters. That was the absolute minimum.
Yeah. And I guess the only thing that would be Miami, that's kind of a good place. If rumor has it that Sierra really wants to not be tucked in Seattle in the middle of nowhere and they want to be out to where, things are happening, Miami's kind of one of those happening places there. Yeah. It's sunshiny, and all that stuff. But what are we talking about here? This isn't going to happen. This is not reality. Come on now. All right, let's talk to Sky High Aviation calling in. Sky High Aviation, you there?
You guys can hear me?
Loud and clear, boss. What you got?
Okay, I did want to talk about, I know it's been mentioned, I don't know if it's been mentioned enough, but the asking price for Russ, and I was mentioning, I mentioned it last week on the Coach for Life Roundtable that instead of teams calling us, if Russ is actually open to being traded, we should set the price bar, and we should set, this is the demands that you have to meet for you to even consider trading Russ at all. So
well, I think it goes without saying, if they're going to entertain the possibility of trading Russell Wilson, first of all, if it's going to happen sometime soon, Russell has got to make it very clear to the management that I want out. I don't want to be here anymore. Sean Watson in Houston.
At minimum.
So there would have to be that. Clearly, they're at an impasse, can't work things out, and they've decided, okay, it's best to part ways. And then at that point, they're going, okay, well, he's not going to be with us anymore. We know what we have here, and we know how much he's valued at. You're going to have to pay us this in order for it to even happen. So I think it goes without saying, for sure, they would have to get their money's worth. But man,
at a minimum, I would think it would be multiple first-round picks, very like a superstar position player, like it was mentioned, like CMC, Christian McCaffrey, or Tua Tagovailoa, and possibly the top pick to go with that. It's gonna. I mean, if Russ is gonna get traded, it's gonna pretty much break the league system almost. I mean, there's gonna be pieces flying around and all that, and I would assume the Dolphins would be the best pick because I've liked Tua from the start. He's a good quarterback. I think he needs to play with some big pieces. He's a lefty. I know we haven't seen that in Seattle in a while, but we also get 2 top 20 picks in the draft there. I know it was mentioned. So it's I think that's the best way to go, Miami, especially because they're out of conference as well, and we don't play them for another 3 years. So I think Tua is still on a rookie contract. That would open up space for us to go out there and build a really nice offensive line and a really nice package for him, so that way Tua can actually come back and be comfortable. And I know he's left-handed. I know that's what people are kind of knacked at about. It's kind of weird seeing a lefty throw the ball in Seattle.
We haven't had a lot of left-handers, but we did have a left-hander in Seattle. Way in the beginning, Jim Zorn was a lefty.
Yep.
So, interesting points. Although I don't want to start making myself feel good about how this could actually work out. If we did this, Russell could be gone. I don't know about you guys, but can you even imagine the Seahawks right now with anybody else but Russell Wilson at quarterback? I mean, I know I've lived a long time to see the Seahawks from the beginning. So I've seen a lot of quarterbacks over the years. But, man, it's like this guy just feels like it's it. And just the thought of him being in another uniform, I'm sure New England Patriots fans feel the same way, that they've never thought Tom Brady would ever leave New England, and here they are. Here he is watching him, win a Super Bowl for a totally different team. But I guess anything could happen. But I guess in my mind, it's just hard to imagine the Seattle Seahawks without Russell Wilson, man. It's become part of. It's just 1 and 2 go together. You know what I mean? And I think we all feel the same way about that. Steve.
But Noah, what about the next Russell Wilson? I mean, the last time we had a quarterback on his rookie deal, we won a Super Bowl. So in the unlikely event that has to happen, I wouldn't be very. I'd actually be, I wouldn't feel too bad. I mean, when I first heard the Russell Wilson rumors, obviously we were all just like, my goodness, no, please, no, But now I'm finding a little bit of justice and potentially trading him if it comes to that.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a quarterback in his rookie. What did we have though, man? We had so much going for us, more than just the quarterback in his rookie contract. I mean, he was playing already lights out, but then we had the defense. We had, we had depth because everybody wasn't getting paid. We had the cheapest Marshawn Lynch on the cheap. Everybody on the cheap. That's the biggest thing. And we had Golden Tate, and Golden Tate's coming back. So hold on a second there. Golden Tate was on that Super Bowl winning team, remember? So that might be the key. Maybe we just need a Golden Tate back here.
Harvin out of retirement.
Would that be interesting? Bring the 2 locker room guys back in. That's good. Percy Harvin out of retirement and Golden Tate. We'll have the 2 big stellar locker room guys in at the Seahawks. They'll bring us back to a Super Bowl. Oh, man. Okay.
When's the last time Wilson missed a game due to injury, though? Like in his entire career. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the big difference between Tua and Russ. Like, let's not take for granted his availability, and that is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. No, man, it's an interesting debate. Knock on wood for sure. Let's go to let's see. Okay, one more call, and I think it'll be maybe got 2 more, then we'll do our trivia. Got Dylan Tate on the line. Dylan Tate, what's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, so I was looking at early predictions today and going into next season, and I know this is too early, but people have us going 7-9 and 0-16. And also, do you think Russ can take us to a Super Bowl with a good old line? And thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, okay. Did you say us going 7-9? Is that the prediction? That's what I heard. 7-9.
He was probably on some Niners website.
Had to have been.
Yeah.
All I could say is, do you remember how many times where have we been predicted to land the last several seasons? I think it's been like a predicted rebuild year for every year for the past 3 seasons, hasn't it? Haven't we been predicted to be
8-8?
7-9.
You know, I mean, it is a small miracle that we finished up 12-4, right, this year. I mean, it is when you stop and think about this past season. We're so down on how it ended because of how the game and the way it did end. But it's pretty amazing when you think about the fact that with all that we went through and all the things that we were complaining about, we finished 12-4 and won the division. Mm-hmm. That by itself, that's mission accomplished. We did everything we wanted to do up until the time the playoffs started. And then the problem was we just stunk it up in the playoffs for a lot of reasons we won't get into right now. But when you think about how bad the defense was, and I know that we could also argue that we were 12-4, but we could have easily been 8-8 with some of those games that came down to like 1 foot or 1 inch and all that kind of stuff. So, but we could have also won some of those games that were right on the edge too, that, you know, just didn't go our way. The Arizona game, you know, I think about. We're still find some way to be better than most people ever give us credit for. So, you know, we're not that far off. I feel like we're just a little bit that close. But we got to get there.
Dylan, to answer your question, no doubt I think we can win a Super Bowl with a great offensive line. You look at the year we did win the Super Bowl, we had arguably the best offensive line we've had in a very long time. A superstar center, great young right or left tackle, a good right tackle. We got 2 good guards, and I don't think we're that far off with the offensive line. Some people in the chat are like, rip apart the offensive line, trade Dwayne Brown, cut Mike Iupati. And it's like you said earlier, Norb, the culture of the offensive line, it hurts a team to rebuild the offensive line every year. And I think, honestly, the biggest problem was on every play in the second half of the year, which is the year the offensive line struggled the most, we were throwing deep. Like, we were sending guys deep, and they were expecting Russ to just sit behind there for like 6-7 seconds with no pressure while he finds Metcalf on the 50-yard line. I think if we involve the short passing game, it'll help out the offensive line. But the biggest part of the offensive line that was a problem was left guard. Mike Iupati would be injured, and then he'd come back, and then he'd get injured, and then he'd come back, and Jamarco Jones was in there.
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 guys constantly rotating in that left guard position.
Simmons. And the thing is, when Iupati was on the field, he couldn't block anything.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to replace center, too. I think center's probably the second biggest need on the O-line, but if we can get like a Joe Thuney in there who's just specialized in pass blocking, who's blocked for Tom Brady most of his career, a quarterback who's not mobile at all, I think that'd really help the offensive line.
How do you feel about our right tackle? Because Damian Lewis, obviously, is a rookie right guard. I think, you know, we have to kind of just chalk it up. It's his first year, but I think no one feels like he should be going anywhere, right? He's kind of a staple part of this offensive line.
No.
So, yeah, left guard for sure. Center, I certainly think we could use an upgrade in there. So what about right tackle? I guess right tackle we're kind of is a little bit of an open area too, right? We got Brandon Shell who was in there, but he's a free agent as well, isn't he?
No, he
has 1 more year.
Oh, 1 more year. 1 year free agent. So we got him for at least another year. And are you guys happy with him? I mean, we keep him for another year.
We can do better.
Yeah, we can definitely do better. And I think we free a lot of cap, actually, by releasing him. This draft is filled with tackle depth. I think we should draft to replace, but, I mean, if it's not there and the stars aren't aligned, I think we should keep him around. But if we could find a good replacement option, cut him. It's kind of like what's his name? DJ Fluker. You know, it's like you weren't going to cut him before the draft, but after the draft, when we got a great guard in Damian Lewis, boom, cut him, free up some cap, and then upgrade at right guard. I think that's what we should do also with the right tackle position.
And with Brandon Shell, I mean, he's good, not great. And in the games that he missed, which was about 3 to 4 games last year with the high ankle sprain, we definitely felt his absence. And so I don't think we should be so quick to find his replacement. I think what we should do is bring in competition, you know, try to see if a guy can beat him out for the job. If not, then, you know, keep him entrenched at the right tackle spot. You like I said, we definitely felt his absence when he was out of the lineup, and he actually had the best season of his career in Seattle last year. I mean, he was stuck in New York all those years, and so I think we should continue to build off of that.
Yeah. All right. So Chef Jack Attack has a quick question for you guys. We'll make this really fast for the panel and for myself. He says, I got a question. What's your guys' favorite movie? This is completely off topic, but it's always fun to discuss. Let's just go around the horn. You just quick right off. Steezy.
One movie that comes to mind, I gotta say The Blind Side.
All right, good one. Squabo, you.
The NorbCam movie.
Oh, come on, man. No, I love it. I love the answer. How about a non-NorbCam movie? What's your favorite movie?
Oh, White House Down.
White House Down. Okay. All right. How about you, Nick?
Mine's also The Blind Side. It's a great story.
Really?
One of my favorite movies.
Wow, that's funny. That's not even in my top 50. But for me, the movie Braveheart with Mel Gibson was on the top of my list for the longest time. And then they came out with Game of Thrones, and I was like, oh man, that's like Braveheart on steroids. So, but that one is definitely on the top. Man, it's so hard because there's like Indiana Jones, Star Wars.
I know there's
Empire Strikes
so
Back
many
is
great
good.
movies.
Shawshank Redemption, though, that's a great movie. If you guys haven't seen that one, you guys got to check it out. It's a Stephen King book. Stephen King, wrote the screenplay, but awesome, cinematic, excellent. Okay, let's go to Chef Jack says The Hangover is the best. So we got to talk about Adam. We got to talk about Jamal Adams before this day is done. So let's talk a little bit about that because Steezy, we'll say you get started because you brought this up last night on our topic discussion. So Jamal Adams, I guess the question is, do we keep him, and how much do we make him the highest paid safety to keep him here? I guess let's get your thoughts on Jamal Adams. Steve.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you look at some of the highest paid safeties in the game today. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, let me check. Eddie Jackson. Oh no, Budda Baker. An average annual value of about $15 million a year if you round up, and I think Jamal Adams is definitely going to break that. You look at the top 10 highest paid defensive players in the NFL. Trey Flowers is actually at the bottom of that list at $18 million per year, and so I think he definitely wants his name in the top 10 in terms of highest paid defenders in the NFL. I definitely don't think we should break 19 or 20 million for him. The highest I'd go anywhere from 18 and a half. Actually, I'd be cool with 19, but as long as he doesn't break 20 million a year. I mean, look, he missed 4 games and still set the record for most sacks by a DB with 9.5. Imagine if he had played a full 16-game season. How many sacks would he have had then? Double digits? Maybe he would have added a couple of interceptions to his tally of 0. But he's definitely, one of the key pieces of this nucleus that we have on defense. He's still young, 24, 25 years old. He has his career ahead of him. And believe it or not, he's not even in his prime yet. He's still ascending. And it's scary to see just how much better he can be, that he will be. 83 total tackles last year. I know he has a few lapses in coverage, but prior to that, in New York, he was pretty solid at guarding tight ends. I mean, a lot of the times we put him in bad spots where we had him cover a slot guy or had him cover, these shifty, quick receivers. I mean, that's just not him. He doesn't cover those type of guys. He covers tight ends, those big bodies. And so,
like Cam Chancellor did back in the day. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I definitely see him being in the top 10 in terms of highest paid NFL defenders. He's going to be the highest paid safety in football. And he's right. He's a weapon. He's not just a safety. And so for that, he's going to get paid just slightly under 20 mil, but he will be the highest paid safety in the NFL.
All right. Chef Jack Attack in the super chat says, I just watched Shawshank Redemption today. There you go. Great movie, right? That's awesome cinematography. Great piece of cinema. Steve, I got to ask you, man. Again, I'm just every time I get to the close-up of you right here, I look at your new place because it's so fun to take in. You got the articles behind you, the Team Steezy logo on that computer with the colorful fans blowing in the background. And then I see underneath the monitor, I see 3 books there. And I'm just dying to know, what are those books? What books does Steezy have on his desk that are just sitting there? What is Steezy reading? I want to know what's on his desk.
Okay, well, the first book I actually want to point out is this ESPN book over here in the top, in the shelf. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Oh, okay.
But, yes, it's called ESPN, The Making of a Sports Media Empire. Obviously the goal is ESPN, so that's up there for a reason. But some of the books that I have under, let me share it with you guys. So this one is called The Exceptional Presenter, a proven formula to open up and own the room. I haven't started it yet, but there's a reason why I have it under. This one, The Gift of Prayer, As you guys all know, I like to pride myself as a religious man, a religious individual. This one right here, I'm about halfway through The Go-Giver. For all my business people out there, you definitely know this book.
What is The Go-Giver about? What is that?
It's been a while since the last time I left off.
So put you on the spot. It's book reports with Steezy A. Smith.
I never did good in my book reports. I never did good.
Yeah, but you're doing the presenter. You're doing your presenter, but you have your presenter book. So if you combine your presenter book with this, you should be killing it.
So basically, it's about a guy who's taught the importance of giving and how giving in life could do so much for you and how it could take you places. I think the last time I actually read this book was when I was on the bus with Squad to Wazoo. So it's been a while. I kind of need a little refresher myself.
When you guys are doing when you're doing the freelance rapping in the RV, right? Which you have to go to Squabble's channel to go watch that.
The last book I want to share, contemporary sports reporting. I haven't started this one yet, but definitely something I need to get to.
All right, no, that's a good plethora of faith, business practices, speaking, sports reporting. You look like you're armed and ready as the student of the game, student of the sports reporting business, man. It's good to see. All right.
Thank you.
And there goes Squabbo. Squabbo's disappearing on us. Okay, what were we talking about? We were talking about Jamal Adams. So why don't you go for it, man? Nick, why don't you give me your take on Jamal Adams?
Yeah, so in my opinion, Jamal Adams is a once-in-a-lifetime player. He's still super young, 24, 25, and I honestly see him being the face of our defense for years to come. He was pretty much the key to our pass rush this year, leading our team in sacks, I believe. I think we definitely have to re-sign him. I only see him getting better. I agree with Steezy. I don't think he's entered his prime yet. I think we got to pick him up this offseason, get it done with before he even gets the thought of leaving and getting more money elsewhere. I see it personally costing us something around 16 to 19 mil a year, which honestly for him, I'll pay that. I'm willing to give him 19 mil per year. I agree with Steezy. I don't want to see it go past 20. But yeah, that's my opinion on Jamal Adams. I think he's a must resign.
All right.
Also, not to mention that we gave up 2 first-round picks and a safety for him.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. Agreed. I like that somebody said you should start a book club, Steezy, called Reading with Steezy. That's great. Squavo, you ready for your take? I want to hear your take on Jamal Adams. Does this make it unanimous? We must bring Jamal Adams back.
Oh yeah, we must bring Jamal Adams back, and here's how we can lay it out. Because I have a controversial opinion. I have an unpopular opinion about Jamal Adams. I am just fine with Jamal Adams getting more than $20 million, if and only if it is based on his performance throughout the season. If it is incentive laden and that is what pushes him over the top, I want it to be a $17 to $18 million base deal, but based on incentives. For example, if he surpasses 10 sacks, breaks his own record for the most sacks in a year by a safety, if he plays all 16 games, if the Seahawks win the division, if we advance through the playoffs, if we do things like that, and it is clearly because of him based on statistics that are very measurable throughout the year, then yes, I'm just fine with us paying him more than $20 million. But his base contract needs to be $17-18 million at the most, in my opinion. I'll live with whatever deal, as long as he comes back. Like, I will live with the deal, but the goal has got to be $17-18 million, because that's already resetting the market by a couple $1 million. And with incentives, if he performs, if he plays all the games, and if the Seahawks win because of it, over $20 million.
I love incentive-based contracts. They should be more of them out there, and they should be higher, had the chance to exceed that level that they want to get to if they hit those marks, whether it be availability, performance, measurements and all that kind of stuff. In fact, he's been on record saying he'll run through a brick wall for Coach Carroll. So, that should be in the contract too, that we have to see evidence of him running through a brick wall. And when he does that, there'll be some incentive for that as well. I'll take running through a wall of linemen. That'll work for me. So, yeah, we got to break him back. We invested too much. But I love the guy. I mean, he's not quite Cam Chancellor yet for me, but he's had some plays that made me go, woo, that's a strong safety play that I haven't seen in a while since the days of Cam Chancellor. So yeah, he's not Allstate. He's not the good hands people. He's got more like a couple of bricks. He runs through brick walls and his hands are made of bricks. But that's okay as long as he knocks the ball down. He's just got to knock it down. He doesn't have to get the pick. But they'll come eventually if he can stay healthy. And I think if they can reward him for being healthy, being productive, yeah, he's worth $20 million in lump sum if all those things happen. So yeah, got to bring him back. So. All right, well, I think that's it. I think we got through everything we wanted to. Unless you guys have anything else to add, I'm ready to do some trivia. How about you guys?
Did you guys check out or hear the news about Carson, unlikely to re-sign with the Hawks? I think it came out. I don't know if it was Corbin Smith or more of a...
Well, nothing concrete, right? I mean, I think we've already felt that we didn't think that Carson was coming back, and the only thing that would change that is some sudden 180 pivot where he's decided to come back because of some change. But there's been more recent news about that. You got something?
Yeah, I think it was either Corbin Smith. Oh, it was Michael Sean Dugar, so local.
Oh, from The Athletic.
Yeah, The Athletic. It said free agent Seahawks running back Chris Carson is unlikely to take a deal averaging less than what the franchise tag would cost, $8 million, meaning that the Seahawks are unlikely to bring him back.
He's gone.
Yeah, I'm not paying him.
Someone's going to have to pay him that first, right? I assume there's going to be a team out there that will pay him what he's looking for.
I'll tell you this: he's not going to a good team for that contract.
Right.
Maybe Buffalo.
Possibly, I could see maybe the Falcons. I think isn't he from Georgia, that area?
I think so.
Yeah, I kind of dismissed it a while back of him coming back.
I remember we were talking about this before the season, and you remember the figure I kept throwing out was $7 million was the most I was going to pay him after the season, and you guys kind of hated on me for saying Carson wasn't coming back. Norb specifically, not as much, Steez, but a little bit. But I think you guys did agree. I think you guys did agree on the figure though. About $7 million was where we wanted him. So, do you guys agree now that anything more than 7 is ridiculous, or where do you guys put his number at?
Yeah, it's over for anything past $7 million, especially when you got a guy like Playoff Lenny on the free agent market. I mean, he's definitely not commanding $7 million plus a year. I would love to get Leonard Fournette in the mix. So give me some Playoff Lenny, man. Chris Carson, bye. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Carson can catch.
Right.
But I think if Carson was available all 16 games, then I'd say yes. I'd pay him more than that. But the history has been that he's always been good for about, at best, 3/4 of a season and maybe less. And that's where the number thing has to drop down there, where you can't pay 8 or more to a guy who hasn't proven he can last the whole season. That's unfortunately the chink in the armor that lowers that, unfortunately. So I think you're right. And there probably will be a team out there that will pay him that. But I don't know, maybe he'll shop around, no one will pay him the money, he'll come back like the prodigal son, just I'm back.
Probably,
I know I left, but I'm back. But don't see it.
I think with the salary going down this year, the running back market is kind of going to go down. So who knows? He may circle around for a lesser deal.
It seems like
what we're on the roster.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like now that the trend is that running back by committee, at least the 1-2 punch, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, do we have the 1-2? Do we have a 1? Do we have a 2? I'm not convinced that we have the 1-2 punch yet.
And we have a half.
Instead of a 1-2 punch, we have maybe a 1.25 and a half punch. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not excited yet what we have in our backfield. We'll see.
No.
That Ned says
Penny can be explosive.
He could be. He's got to not be I keep saying it, he's becoming the CJ Prosize of the 2020s, man. I can't have that. Man, Ned says, thanks for the stream. Good luck on the trivia. I got an ice cold beer to drink. Go Hawks. Well, can't you drink the beer and play trivia? Just pull it up and have it right here. But yeah, thanks for watching, man. Hunter Johnson says, I want Collins back. The man doesn't give up. Interesting.
I like Collins.
Yeah, Alex Collins, man, he was great before. He became better when he left us, and when he came back, he had a couple plays. You guys remember those plays again? I think it was against the San Francisco, right? Down the goal line, he looked like Beast Mode with his dreads flying around. He just like, "Ooh, Beast Mode's back," but he never really got any more touches after that. It was kind of all of a sudden it's like, nope, no, we're not going to give you any more. So I don't wonder about.
I liked him all the way back in what was it like 2017?
2017, yeah.
Yeah, I liked him back then, but that was kind of the year where we had too many running backs and he just didn't really have a spot.
And then he went to Baltimore. He's like, where was this? Where's this been? Drive Swiss in the super chat says, yo, Norbert, one more thing. Have you heard about Sherman possibility coming back? I've heard people talk about it. I don't think anything realistic has come from that. Have you guys? I don't think it's anything more than like people saying, it'd be cool to have Richard Sherman back. But
I think if we're trying to appeal to Russell Wilson, I don't think that'd be the right move. But if Russell Wilson signs off on it and Richard Sherman wants to come back, then I'd love to have him back.
I'll say this much, though. I would have expected Richard Sherman to come back before Golden Tate. So if that's happening, and I'm like, you just never know what's going to happen, right? Oh, man. Chef Jag Attack says, trivia! Yeah, man.
They want trivia.
All right, we want trivia. It is getting late in the day, so we will tackle. We talked about a bunch of guys. We are going to break down more of the urgent free agents here in the next coming weeks. Shaquille Griffin, I think, is number one on that next list. We're going to break down some of his plays on the next Coach's Corner next week, and then we'll talk about it on the next roundtable. So for now, we're going to move on from free agency frenzy of this week, and we're going to do some trivia. Let's do it. So everybody, get your Kahoot apps and Kahoot.com ready, and we are going to do this. Thank you, Rishi H, for submitting the trivia this week. And for the best part of the show, it's name time. Let's go. The PIN number is 981-7135. 981-7135. All right, everybody, type it in and get your names in. Keep it clean, or I'm going to boot you. 981-7135. We got Jeremy Lin, Go Hawks. Rain, Sky High Aviation. O-line is greater than Jamal. Devin, Cameron Hughes. Russ hates Seattle. Up. Andrew Sund. John Rick 453. Konnichiwa. JT. Chef Jack. Rain City. Never. Hawks 2021. Sherm. Bang Energy. Keep the names coming. 981-7135. We love Seahawk. 981-7135. Noah's Beard. I rated Norbco. BJ. LeBeau's Lens Flare. Bebo Seahawks. Dazzle Eagle 80. Noah took my beard. Trash is my nam. Trash is my nam. Sierra. Gunna. Go Pack Go. 20 more seconds. General Grant. Aidan Pham. Trump 2024. Saints Houdat. DK Metcalf Boy 112. Norb's Wig. Oh, it's real. It's real. It's real. Owa. Russell Metcalf. Sam Darnold. Give. What's with the verbs? Gonna. Oh, I see it. Never. It just finally hit me. Never gonna give. Never gonna give. Never gonna give. Doc's Hawks. 10 more seconds. Noah Beard equals KSI. Vanessa Crush. General Lee. 5 more seconds or so. 981-7135. Last chance. Last chance for romance. Join the Kahoot now. 981-7135. Magic Gazelle 69. Snorted Seaweed. Amazing Eagle 24. Soaring Buffalo 31. Go Hawks Pen. Or his pen. All right, Billie Jean. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, let's go full screen here. Here we go. Rishi H, thank you again for the trivia questions. 12 questions. First one coming up right here. Question number 1. What was Geno Smith's passer rating this past season? 96.7, 92.3, 94.2, or 89.8? What was Geno Smith's passer rating this past season? 96.7, 92.3, 94.2, or 89.8? 3 seconds. Time is up. All right, 94.2 FM. 94.2 was the correct answer. 9 of you got this correct. Not something that we normally talk about. The backup quarterback's passer rating, especially on the Seahawks. I'm surprised he even had a passer rating, but he did, apparently. Let's go to the panel, starting with Steezy.
I mean, I do remember him stepping in a little bit in that Jets game. The only real blowout of the season. The only real blowout that I remember from the last couple of years. And he wasn't that good, but he wasn't that bad either. He was just middle of the pack. But knowing Geno Smith, I kind of wanted to go with the low, so I said 89.
All right. Tough question. Let's see. Let's go Squabo.
Yeah, I had no idea. And so I went with, I tried to psychoanalyze, and it didn't work, so I said 96.
Okay. I thought, whatever happened to when in doubt, pick C? All right, let's go to Nick. Nick, you're the new one on the panel today.
My logic was kind of the same as Steezy. I remember him coming in. He didn't really pass much because we were at the point where we were running chewing clock, but I said 92.3. Got it wrong.
92.3 FM. Playing all the hits. Nobody got a hit this time. All right, so tough one. Let's see how the YouTube scoreboard did on this tricky little backup question. Didi in first place. Cameron Hughes in second. John Rick 453 in third. Aidan Pham in fourth. And Go Hawks in fifth. Next question.
We guess every wrong answer.
Which of these players was not a Seahawks receiver in 2018? Paul Richardson, Brandon Marshall, Jerron Brown, or Amara Darboh? Which of these players was not a Seahawks receiver in 2018? Paul Richardson, Brandon Marshall, Jerron Brown, or Amara Darboh? Time is up. Oh, look at that. YouTube, all over it. Yep, Paul Richardson, the correct answer. 20 of you got this correct. Let's go to the panel with Steezy.
I had Paul Richardson at first, and then I ended up going to Jerron Brown. So I got it out.
Went against his gut instinct. Squabo.
Yeah, no, this one was just confusing. I was like, was Darboh there? I thought Richardson was there for sure. I thought Jerron Brown was there for sure. So I went, it was between Darboh and Marshall for me. So I said Marshall. I got it wrong.
Tough ones. Yeah, that was the year that Richardson went to the Redskins, right?
Yeah.
And they came back the following season, I believe. Okay, so Nick, chance to get on the board so far. Swinging goose eggs here.
So I was going back from Jerron Brown and Paul Richardson, but then I remembered that Paul Richardson that offseason was the one who left and Jerron Brown was the one who came in. So I took Richardson, got it right.
All right, so Nick on the board with 1 point, draws first blood. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Oh, Didi still on top. Cameron Hughes also at second. Jeremy Lin moves up to third. Go Hawks to fourth. And Unban Daniel in fifth. Next question. I love how it turns into like political campaigning. Who caught the Seahawks' first ever touchdown pass from Jim Zorn? John McMacken, Steve Largent, Sam McCullum, or Don Testerman? Who caught the Seahawks' first ever touchdown pass from Jim Zorn? John McMacken, Steve Largent, Sam McCullum, or Don Testerman? 3 seconds. Time is up. Ooh, pretty split even across the top there, but the correct answer was Sam McCullum. I actually knew that answer because I happened to be having a conversation with somebody who told me this bit of trivia. I said, that'll be a great trivia question. And lo and behold, it was in today's trivia. Sam McCullum, the correct answer. Let's go to Steezy. Are we on the board, Steez?
Not yet. With all due respect to all those receivers, I just chose the guy with the coolest name, and I went with Don.
Testerman. I've never heard of John McMacken or Don Testerman. Steve Largent obviously was the kind of the one name that pops out, makes you think, is it too easy? But you didn't go for that one. You went with a cool name. Squabble, what about you? What was your logic? Did you know it or did you have to guess? And what was your approach?
Oh no, I did not know this one. And I was guessing between the two coolest names up there. So I was thinking like the McDonald's item, John McMacken, or
McMacken.
McMacken with cheese.
Or Don Testament. I thought he was the funniest name, so I said O'Donnell.
Right, yeah, you and Steezy are lockstep. All right, so lockstep with both no points. So Nick, how about you? Did you have a better approach to this question?
Well, I knew Sam McCollum was on the team. I ruled out Largent because I thought that was a bit too obvious. Same with McCollum, so it was between Testerman and John Mackaman, and I went John.
Oh boy. So low scoring game so far. What's funny is Sky High. I know that Rishi's in there, and he says.
Rishi was like, "Oh, the first three are softballs."
First two questions are softballs, but it'll get harder, man. So if this gets any harder for Steezy and Squabble, we're in big trouble. All right, let's go to the scoreboard here.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh, Cameron Hughes shoots to the top. Didi nowhere to be found. Drops all the way from the top to nowhere. Go Hawks in second. Snorted Seaweed on fire goes to number 3. Never in fourth. And never gonna in fourth and fifth. Next question. Can you believe that actually they did never gonna, and it actually ended up in that order on the screen? How is that possible? If it actually goes all 5 and says never gonna give you up, that would be like that'd be like awesome. Some kind of miracle. I hope it actually happens. All right, good luck, never gonna. Here we go. Never gonna. Who was the only Seahawks player drafted in 2011 that didn't make the final roster? Lazarius Livingston, John Moffitt, Chris Durham, or Mark Legree? Who was the only Seahawks player drafted in 2011 that didn't make the final roster? Lazarius Livingston, John Moffitt, Chris Durham, or Mark Legree? Time is up. Ooh, Mark Legree. Okay, 12 of you got that one correct. Steezy, you are a draft master. Something tells me this is right up your alley. What you got?
I didn't have to resort to that, though. I kind of just didn't recognize the name, so I went with that name, Mark Legree. All right. Okay. Well, if better to be lucky than good if you don't know the answer. There you go. Steezy on the board ties up with Nick. Squabble with a chance to get on the board here. Squabble.
Same logic, and once again, go with the coolest name up there. Easy.
Legree.
All right. Wow, you guys are like seriously lock a step over there. So 1 point apiece, and Nick all tied up, but a chance to take the lead.
Studio.
Nick, what you got?
I went with blue. I didn't get it. I knew it wasn't Livingston. I honestly did not recognize any of the other names up there, so I just went with blue. Okay. Well, John Moffitt and Chris Durham, I know those guys made the list. I remember John Moffitt was the subject of many of the what was the videos that what's his name would do, the fullback? Real Rob. He had John Moffitt on their bunch. You know what I'm talking about? So I knew he wasn't in there. So for me, when it came down to Mark Legree and Lazarius Livingston, I think I would have picked Mark Legree as well, but not because I knew the name. All right, so we have all tied up on the panel, one apiece. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Cameron Hughes still in first. Go Hawks in second. Snorted Seaweed. Jeremy Lin back up to fourth, and Never drops to fifth. Never. And on to the next question, number 5. The Seahawks had at least 2 safeties in 2020. This was the first time this has happened since what year?
Including postseason
1989. I do not know. 1993, 91, or 2005. Let me say that again. Seahawks had 2 safeties in 2020. This was the first time it's happened since 1989, 1993, 1991, or 2005. The correct answer is 1993. That was a good question. I was wondering that myself when it was asked. Does that include, Rishi, does that include postseason? I know you're watching. He
said it doesn't.
Does not include postseason. Okay, there you go. Oh. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, made a huge difference. But actually not that big because, one of the questions, the answer I would have said was not up there. So, all right. 10 of you got that correct in 1993. Let's go to the panel. And Steezy, what you got?
Make it 11. I had no clue, so I kind of just guessed. I looked at blue and I said, that's the one.
When in doubt, go to blue. All right. Steezy takes the lead for the time being. Squabo.
Dude, I went on such a mental circus during the 12 seconds that we have, and Norb was dramatically reading the question. It started off, I was like, okay, it's 4 numbers. I don't know. And so I went with, you said earlier, when in doubt, go with C. And I was looking at these, and C is technically yellow. But I was like, if you put the answers in order chronologically, 89, 91, 93 becomes C. And that's why I said no.
Oh man, you and Squabo, man. Have you answered like every single question the same? I mean, you guys have been like two peas in the pod this whole game, and now you're tied up at 2 peas. Nicely played, wow. Nick. You got to play some catch up here. What do you got, Nick LeBeau?
So normally when people do these number trivia answers, it's usually not the most and it's usually not the least. So I kind of ruled out 2005 and 1989. I then went between 1991 and 1993. I was like, I went, what is my favorite color between yellow and blue? And it was blue, and I chose blue and paid off.
See, that's the right color too, like between the two.
You know what's funny though is when you do these trivias, it's not like you ever think of the color you're picking. You're just putting answers down, and it just happens to be on whatever it is. So it just happened to be lucky for you guys that blue was the correct one here in this case. So, all right, it's all tied up in a very close match, but at least in the panel. Let's see what happens with the YouTube scoreboard right now. Cameron Hughes still on top. I see he's trying to defend himself, telling people, I can't Google that fast. So Cameron Hughes in first place. Snorted Seaweed moves to second. Jeremy Lin moves up to third. Go Hawks in fourth. And Didi climbing back up there at fifth place, trying to sneak back up to the top in a tight match. Next question, number 6. The LOB defense was number 1 in defensive points for how many years straight? 2, 5, 3, or 4? The LOB defense was number 1 in defensive points for how many years straight? 2, 5, 3, or 4? 2, 5, 3, or 4. Time is up. 10 of you guys got the correct answer. It was 4. 4 years in a row. I want to say would that have been 2012, 13, 14, 15?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that was, or was it 13, 14, 15, 16? I can't remember if it started the 12 or 13. I'm pretty sure it was
13, 14.
Might have been 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
Because that would have been the last year before they did make the playoffs. While we're figuring that out, Rishi or somebody, tell us what years that 4-year period spanned. But in the meantime, we'll go to the panel and start with Steezy. Did he get the right number?
Mm-hmm. I just knew it. I just kind of remembered.
Just knew it. All right, Squabo.
I was pretty sure it was 4, and then it was C too. So I was like, yes.
Okay, wow. You guys are still striding it here. Nick?
Same logic. I knew it. 4.
And what were the years?
They said it was 2012 to 2015. That's what Cameron Hughes said.
Cameron Hughes says 12 to 15. Ron Everest says 11 to 14. I don't think that's correct. I think it's 12.
I think Cameron
can't be 11
right on this one. Yeah, I can't be
11 was not a good year. 12, 13, 14, 15 is probably right.
12.
Okay. All right. Let's get
We don't talk
into
about 11.
the YouTube scoreboard right here.
No, we don't.
Here we go. Cameron Hughes, still, how many changes except at the bottom? Cameron Hughes in first, Snorted Seaweed in second, Jeremy Lin in third, Didi up again another notch to fourth, and Go Hawks at fifth. Trash is my Nam is the highest climber, up 14 spots. Number 7, here we go. What is the longest completed pass Russell Wilson has thrown in his NFL career? We've done this before. Was it 80, 68, 78, or 76? What is the longest completed pass by Russell Wilson thrown in his career? 80, 68, 78, or 76? 80, 68, 78, or 76? Time is up. Oh, YouTube, you guys were on this one. 18 of you guys got the correct answer. 80 yards. from the 20-yard line. Now the question is, who caught that pass?
Yep.
That would be a good follow-up. Let's go to the panel. Steezy.
Man, I feel like I should have known this one, but I went with 76.
Steezy. Now, Squab, are you going to take a misstep in the same way, or are you going to take a different route?
I'm going to taunt him on the way like Golden Tate did when he caught it.
Oh, is that the play? Is that the play?
That's the play.
Oh,
Yeah.
in St. Louis.
In
St. Louis. Oh, nice. I
love you, Steve. I had to do it.
That was good. I deserved it.
Yeah, I was doing this thing, wasn't he? He almost caught it too, by the way. He was doing that thing, and he almost got caught right before the goal line, but he did get in. All right, Nick. Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, correct.
It's funny that we're talking about
I got
Golden
it
Tate.
right.
He says he's coming back to Seattle.
I remember this from past trivias, mainly because I'm pretty sure the last trivia you asked this, I got it wrong. And usually I remember the ones I got wrong. So yeah, I knew it was 80.
It's like me and spelling
I'd say it
bees.
was
Never forget those wrong answers. Okay, so Nick and Squabo with 4. Yeah, don't remind me. Squabo and Nick with 4 points each. Steezy with 3. Tight ball game. Yeah, that's funny. We're talking about an 80-yard pass play from Russell Wilson to Golden Tate. We might see that again in 2021. All right, YouTube scoreboard. Here we go. Cameron Hughes still on top of Jeremy Lin, catching up in second place. Northern Seaweed drops to third. Didi remains at fourth, and Go Hawks stays in fifth. Ryan 316 up 10 places, the highest climber. Next question. Number 8. How many rushing yards did Marshawn Lynch have in the Beastquake game? 138, 142, 156, or 131? How many rushing yards did Marshawn Lynch have in the Beastquake game? 138, 142, 156, or 131? 138, 142, 156, or 131? Ooh, only 8 of you got this correct on YouTube. 131, the correct answer. Do you guys remember how long the Beastquake run was?
Was it like 50 something?
60 something?
It was. I think it was at the 30-something yard line. I want to say it was like 67. I think 67.
67 yards.
67. Anyway, so he had to pile on a few more to get that number. All right, let's go to the panel. Steezy, did you get this number here?
A little bit of a cold streak. I said 142.
Uh-oh. A little over right here, but Squabo, a chance to take the lead.
Or to get back inside with Steezy. I said 156.
Oh, man. So Nick chance to take the lead here. Does he?
I also said 142.
Oh, man. Tricky
My
question.
logic was, I used the logic I did last time where it's not going to be the lowest or the highest, and it proved me wrong.
Well, it wasn't the lowest and it wasn't the highest, but it was not the correct middle one then. No, it was it was the lowest.
No,
it was the lowest. You're right.
Yeah.
He threw you off with that one. Okay, so playing a little mind games with the numbers. All right, let's see how the YouTube scoreboard shakes out with this. Cameron, no change. No change. Cameron Hughes still on top. Jeremy Lin second. Snorted Seaweed in third. Didi in fourth. Go Hawks in fifth. I have a feeling my never gonna give you up it's not gonna happen today. I just looks like it's just not on the cards. All right, next question. That would have been a miracle there. The fact that we even had never gonna is pretty amazing. All right, next question. True or false? The most number of rushing yards Marshawn Lynch has had in a game was achieved when he was a Seahawk. True or false? The most number of rushing yards Marshawn Lynch has had in one game was achieved when he was a Seahawk. True or false? Time is up. Isn't it amazing? The mind, I don't know about you guys, but if it comes to true false, doesn't your mind just constantly keep playing games on itself? It's like, well, it's got to be false because it seems so obvious to be true, but then maybe he's trying to trick me by making it seem like it'd be false, and so it's probably true. Since he's trying to think, I'm not going to go for the obvious. It was false. Now the question is, with which team was it? Let's go to the panel for their answers. 1 point right here. True, false, 50-50. Steezy.
I know he had a couple of great years with the Buffalo Bills, but I mean, when you compare like his Seahawks career, I mean, I guess he had some years with the Raiders, but man, I got it wrong. I said true. I just
it had to be Buffalo. I don't think he ever had any big runs with the Raiders, and if it wasn't with the Seahawks, which I know he's had a few from the 30-something yard line, so it had to be something pre-30 yard line because I don't remember if he's ever had a run longer than that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw some big run.
Must have been a Buffalo Bills. He's had some big. There's a couple of highlights in Buffalo.
Because he was pretty good in Buffalo before he kind of got in some trouble.
Well, Squabo, what you got here, man? Chance to take the lead.
Well, typically, as Nick mentioned, the answer is going to be either B or C. But the last 2 rounds, it's been the highest and then the lowest. So obviously, Rishi is on some shenanigans, and I'm on to you, Rishi. So I was going to say true, but then I remembered all the pain that Coach Marsh's wisdom has caused us over the past couple of weeks with that logic. And I even went against it on a test at Wazoo, and it helped me out. So I went against it one more time based on Rishi's shenanigans and got it right.
All right. So he played the true-false mind game, and he got it right. And it helped him in school as well. So much for the 75% always true. We've seen that to be not the case, and this continues to prove that theory. Nick, what theory did you subscribe to?
Well, I kind of use a similar thing, and what sucks about these true falses, and I think you guys might have said it a few weeks ago, there's just so much time and such a lack of available answers. So at first I'm like, okay, every single time after Coach Marsh has said that, whenever there's been a true false, it's always been false. But then my mind was, Rishi's super smart. He totally knows that. He probably made it true. But then I'm like, well, and then I questioned, because I thought I saw something in the chat that said he made it a while ago. So I'm like, maybe he made it before Coach Marsh said that. So then I went false, and I got it right.
Oh man, you figured that all that process within that 20 seconds of asking a question. That's amazing. Well, it proved it helped you out, man. So you got 5. And Squabo's also tied with you at 5 and Steezy with 3, but we're about to enter double-digit territory, so anything can happen. Let's go to this YouTube scoreboard and see what happens there. Okay, a few changes. Cameron Hughes, I go to the full screen so you can see the numbers. Cameron Hughes still on top with a sizable lead, over 1,000-point differential. What is he doing over there? He must got some high-speed internet going on over there. Snorted Seaweed in second place. Jeremy Lin in third. Didi in fourth. And Never is back onto the list. There's still hope for Never. Never's on 5th place. Let's go to the next question. I do believe we're into double trouble right here. Yes, we are. Double jeopardy. Out of all the penalties Walter Jones has committed in his career, what % of those were false starts?
Oh, my God. Bro, what?
57%, about 71%, about 62%, or about 55%? Out of all the penalties Walter Jones has committed, how many have been false starts? 57%, 71%, 62%, or 55%? Wow, the least popular answer was the correct one, 57%. Just a little over half, but 5-7. Only 3 of you got that in the YouTube world. That's going to change the fates. How about the panel with double points on the line? Steezy could tie it up in one fell swoop right here. What say you, Steez?
Not this time around, but I really got to give props to Rishi. A lot of these questions that are being thrown at us, I'm kind of just looking at them cluelessly.
Right.
And shout out to Rishi for doing something like that.
He said it was going to get harder, and it did get harder. So,
a lot harder.
So, Steezy misses a chance to tie, but game's not over. Game's not over yet. Squabo.
It is crazy how Rishi's trying to throw us off by the last question throwing in the true false. But if you guys remember the pattern before that, he started off the quiz. It was C, C, C. Then he goes 4. Then he goes 1. And when he did that, I was like, okay, so he's changing it up. Do I really think he's going to go the entire quiz without having the second option be the answer? And I said no. So I said the next time we're doing it, I'm taking number 2. Then we had the true false, and I almost forgot about it. And then I read the question, had no clue, and went with number 2, 57, got it right.
Wow. So Squabble gets the double points with that logic breakdown. So much psychology, man. Maybe you should be a psychology major. 7 points for Squabble. Takes a huge, huge lead right here. But anything can still happen. Nick LeBeau trying to stay stride for stride. Could tie it up with this answer, but does he, Nick?
So my logic was, I went back to, it's not going to be the greatest, it's not going to be the least. And the last time that there was one, I believe the answer was closer to the bottom. So like that I took, and I got it right. So this time I said, okay, I'm going to go with the answer towards the top, which is 57, and I got it right.
Wow. Impressive. All right. Well played, man. Making this a tight game and going neck and neck with Squabbo.
I know. I remember last time I came on here, Squabbo and I neck and neck again.
Okay. All right.
Good stuff, Larry.
Let's see what happens. We got a couple questions left, so anything can happen. Scoreboard time. Oh, Snorted Seaweed takes the lead. He must have missed that question as Snorted Seaweed took advantage, takes the lead with 64-88. Cameron Hughes drops to second, a mere 300 plus points behind. Jeremy Lin in third, Didi in fourth, and Noah's Beard out of nowhere comes in streaking hot, gets to the fifth spot. Noah's Beard making a last minute move, but is it going to be enough? 2 questions to go. Question number 11 right here. True or false? Double points. In NorbCam, Arcane was not the first bot to be used in the level up process. True or false? I don't even know what that means, and I'm part of this thing. In NorbCam, Arcane was not the first bot to be used in the level up process. True or false? Get your psychology games ready, gentlemen, because here we go. Time is up. Wow, you guys are on. You guys must all be on NorbCam because 23 of you guys in a landslide figured this out. 23-8. Arcane was not the first bot to be used in the level up process. Now, I am pretty sure that one of you in the panel has a slight advantage since one of you is a admin staff member on the Discord. So I'm going to have to save you for last. But I'll start with Steezy. And I know Steezy and Squabbo are not exactly the most Discord involved guys. So I'm curious to see how you came about answering this question, starting with you, Steezy, who needs the points to catch up with a chance to tie, if any at all. It starts right here. Steezy, what do you got?
I used Squabbo's too specific logic, and so I said true, and all right.
Okay, so Steezy's still alive. Still alive for the time being. Squabbo could change that with one answer right here. Squabbo, what do you got?
I don't even know what logic Steve's talking about, man. I saw this question, I ain't have a clue. So but Rishi's been changing it up, so I changed it up, and I said true.
Ooh, so he went back to the ways of truth, and the truth paid off. So Squabbo gets 2 more points to get the score to 9. It takes the temporary lead, essentially widens the gap from Steezy to a point of no return. Steezy will not be the victor, unfortunately, in this game due to the margin of victory. However, Nick is still in the game here, temporarily in second place, but as a NorbCam staff member, what say you?
The thing is, I didn't actually know this from my time as staff because I was staff a lot later.
You came later. That's true. You came later.
I did. But I did know this because I was like one of the 5th people actually in the server when you launched on the live stream. And I remember everyone was going crazy about the levels. It was like this huge battle, like who's going to be first place. And I remember they changed it up on us in the middle of it. And so, yeah, I remember the first bot was me 6.
Wow, look at you. Not only knowing it, but knew the correct answer that it wasn't Arcane, but me 6. So he ties it up with Squabbo. So we have one more question to determine it all. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard here and see what fates change after that one. Oh, surprisingly, not a lot of changes here. Snorted Seaweed stays in first. Cameron Hughes still in second. Jeremy Lin in third. Didi in fourth. And Neva is still in fifth, hanging in there. One more question to go. Number 12, worth double. Here we go. According to the Music Commands channel in Norbcord, what was the first song ever played? Guns and Ships, Pardon Me, I'll Be Fine, or Take On Me. According to the Music Commands channel in Norbcord, what was the first song ever played? Guns and Ships, Pardon Me, I'll Be Fine, or Take On Me. 3 seconds. Time is up. Wow, 10 of you guys got that correct. It was Take On Me, Take On Me. You guys know that song, right?
Yeah.
Steve's like, what?
I honestly don't.
I mean, these are the songs way before any of you guys were born, right? You guys were born in like the 90s, right?
98.
Yeah.
I think Nick was born in the 80s.
Nick was born in maybe his soul is from the 80s, but
Yeah, maybe.
Take On Me was, I believe, 1985. I was an exchange student in Japan when I first learned of that song. Take On Me by Aha, a group called Aha.
Oh, that's a trivia question.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here now. Just easy. We know that victory is out of reach for you, but let's see how you approach this anyway, and see if you can finish strong. What you got?
Once again, I didn't trust in my gut. Initially, I was thinking "Take On Me," just because that was the only song that you had. That was the only option that you gave a little twist to. You kind of sang it, and as opposed to the other ones, you didn't sing those. And so I was thinking, it got to be that one. But then, I don't know, I kind of just was looking through my options, and I was just like, you know what? I feel like maybe he did that for a reason. Maybe he's trying to throw us off. And so I ended up going with, what's the one with Fine?
I'll Be Fine?
I'll Be Fine, yeah. I went with that.
Oh, man. Well, truth be told, I didn't know the answer. So if I was throwing you off, it was by accident. It's the only song I knew how to sing on here. So Steezy does not get the final question. But now we go to the tiebreaker right here. We'll just go in order. So Squabo, currently tied with Nick with 9 points each. What do you got?
Man, first of all, I just want to point out in the chat, someone says Steely is born in 1998. And I've heard it been called Sneezy before. Now it's Steely.
You got Sneezy.
D-Lacker. Shout out D-Lacker.
My.
But all right, so back to the question. So
Squeezy.
There were 3 things that helped me decide my answer. So first of all, first thing I noticed, because first of all, I only know one of these songs.
Which one?
Second of all, I'll tell you that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Second of all, there were 2 songs on here that had the same word in the name. And when you're taking a test, if you're trying to throw someone off, you put word names that are similar. So I was thinking already it's one of the 2 that are similar. And then finally, you did sing Take On Me, and that is the only song that I knew. So all those 3 things combined, I guessed green and got it right.
Woo! So Squabo with that, taking all that intel into account, takes the temporary lead with 11 points, but Nick has one chance right here to tie it up with the 1 yard line. Nick
And I ran the ball. As I said before, I was one of the first people on there, and I remember they were all, what they were doing in the music commands, they were doing like your songs, and you did one of the, I don't know if it was like your music video season predictions, but you did Take On Me as a video. I think it was, yeah. So and also that was the only song I knew, so I went with Take On Me.
So, but they played the real Take On Me, not my version, right?
I think they played the real one. Yeah, they played the real one first.
Wow, that's cool. I did not know that. That's the only song I knew how to sing in here. So, man, we got a tie. We got a tie in here. I don't got no tiebreakers handy.
Man, give it to Nick.
That's true. Nick is the guest.
No.
Nick is the guest. Well, that's what we do.
If I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win.
Okay, well, what we could do here. All right, here's what we're doing.
Cameron's got a question.
Cameron Hughes has a question. Okay, we do have to go to the YouTube finale here, but Cameron Hughes, what's your question?
Let's see.
You should do like the between 1 and 10 thing, man. This whole question thing. What if we keep getting it right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Thing.
We did this before.
Yeah, that's true. We spent all night. Okay. I don't know what the question is. Well, we'll keep an eye. But let's go to the scoreboard. Let's see who won this thing. Here we go. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be close. 1 and 2 is very close. Here we go. Thank you, Rishi H, for the trivia. In third place with 7 out of 12 is Dee. In second place with 9 out of 12 is Snorted Seaweed. Oh, that means in first place with 10 out of 12, it must be Cameron Hughes. Jeremy Lin and Trash is something is the other runners up. So Cameron Hughes comes back after having the lead in the beginning of the season, fell behind, but managed to finish strong and get the final number 1 spot at the podium. Congratulations, Cameron Hughes. And no, Cameron is not cheating. At least we don't think so. Cameron Hughes, back-to-back champs. Oh, so Cameron Hughes was the one who won last year. I was actually wondering who it was. What's it? JM Football Production says, I won. I'm Cameron Hughes. We've been having a Discord. We've been having a raid of people imitating imposters posing as other people, man. It's been crazy.
Yeah, it's been stressful.
I thought Rohan won last week because it was the Noah looks high AF, and Rohan messaged me with the screenshot. So I think.
Oh, was it? Oh, then I'm not sure what Cameron's talking about. I was wondering because I didn't actually think. So, So Rohan was the Noah's high. Okay, all right.
But yeah, and
Cameron made the trivia last week. That's right. What am I saying? Yeah, Cameron made the trivia. That's right. So he provided it last year, and then he won it this week. Man, that's a lot of.
Okay, I see you, Cam.
That's some serious monopolizing the trivia, man. He's writing it and he's winning it. Someone might say that something fishy's going on here, but I tell you, there's not. All right, so you're telling me you guys we need to do a tiebreaker, and we're just going to do a number style, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're going to pick a number between 1 and 12. The closest person to it is going to win. Hold on a second. Hold on. You guys put a hand numbers behind your hand between 1 and 12. Wait. And you guys on 3 reveal your numbers. And 1, 2, 3, reveal. The number was 1. So Squabo wins it. Squabo wins it. Congratulations, Squabo. I guess I'll give you the double points here. So Squabo with 13, if we call that a double question. But Nick LeBeau, well played, man. I mean, it came down to the wire. You won it, you tied in regulation, and you just threw a pick 6 in overtime. You picked 6. You did throw a pick 6 because you picked 6. You picked 6 as your number.
No, I picked 7.
Oh, 7? Okay, never mind. That was close. Close enough. Yeah. All right. With an extra point, it's 7. All right. Although you don't have to kick an extra point if it's a sudden death win. All right. So congratulations, Squabo. Nice job. And congratulations, Cameron Hughes, on winning the trivia. Nice job, you guys. And Rishi H, nice job on selecting those questions. Those were not easy for sure. Those were really good. All right. So this is the time where I want to give everybody a chance to, again, remind people where they can find themselves and what they have going on this week. So Steezy, we'll start with you.
Yes, sir. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to Norb, subscribe to Nick LeBeau at Seattle Sports Talk, subscribe to my brother, DJ Squabo. Obviously, we all got some stuff up our sleeves, and so if you guys could please show us some love, smash that like button, be sure to comment. If you guys can subscribe and follow me on all platforms, especially Instagram. I'm so close to 1,000. We're at 960 now, so we're about 40 away from 1,000 on Instagram. At Steezya Smith, Steezyasmith. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I dropped a video the other day called "What the Seattle Seahawks Can Learn from the Chiefs' Loss to the Bucs in Super Bowl 55." I know it's been a while since I've dropped a video, and so kind of just wanted to put that out there for you guys. I got a couple of videos on the horizon as well. The next one's going to be called "Sleepless in Seattle. What is Russell Wilson's end game?" And then the second one's going to be "How much is too much for Jamal Adams?" So I don't know. I can't really put out a time frame for those, but those will be the upcoming videos on my channel. And once again, thank you so much to Norb for the platform, for the opportunity. I love doing this each and every single Wednesday, and although I'm not the best at trivia, I really do enjoy it. So thank you so much, Norb.
Hey, absolutely, man. And definitely check out his channels on Instagram, social media, and the YouTube channel for everybody is in the description. So make sure you guys hit them up if you haven't already. And that video you just talked about, I know you just sent me the article as well to go with it. So I will be posting that video and the article on the Fan to Fan Network site as well, so you can check it out there. So we'll try to get as much love on that article and video as possible. Squabo, DJ Squabo, winner of the trivia. Let's go to you, man. Tell them about your channels and what you got going on.
I'm doing a dating segment. It is still Valentine's season. It was this past Sunday. It is boo season. So it is relationship advice for Russell Wilson and Seattle, keeping Russell Wilson in Seattle. It is dropping tonight, so definitely subscribe to CJ Smith and Nick LeBeau and NorbCam, and then to DJ Squabo for that video tonight. And then coming up, a video about why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers formula will continue to be successful heading into next year. Coming up.
All right. So again, check out his channel in the description and follow him on social media. Great stuff, DJ Squabo. Always appreciate having you every week on the Roundtable. So Nick LeBeau, second place in the trivia, but always a great contributor, and I appreciate everything you do on the Discord as well. So thank you for all that you do. Tell everybody what they can expect from you and where they can find you.
Yeah, so later this week on my channel, Seattle Sports Talk, I will be dropping a video basically detailing how the Seattle Seahawks could win this offseason. Before you come check me out, though, be sure to give some love to CJ Smith and DJ Squabo. They both got awesome channels and put in awesome work. On my Instagram, I have a new series. It is a resign or walk, where I'll just be every day posting a Seahawks free agent and posing the question to you guys, whether you would pay them or let them walk in free agency. Thank you to Norb so much for having me on tonight. It was really fun. Congratulations, Squabo, for winning the trivia. Congratulations, Cameron, for winning the YouTube trivia. Thank you to Rishi for the trivia. Elena Dahl, thanks for moderating in the chat, and thanks for everyone who came out tonight to watch us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick. Again, please give these guys all some love. Check out their channels, watch their videos, watch their Instagram posts. You guys are really smart. They know so much about this stuff, and they make me look good. You know, it's like if you can't do it yourself, you bring smart people around you to make you look smarter. So that's what I do. No, but it's great. I love collaborating with these guys. The thoughts and research that they do into this is really fantastic. And this is the future, you guys. These are the future broadcasters, sports broadcasters of America here. One day you're going to see these guys and go, I remember when he was just on Norb's little channel. So it's going to be great when that day comes. So as for me, this is the off-season time, so things are changing a little bit. Obviously, there's no watch parties, no games to react to, or games to break down. However, that doesn't mean we're not going to keep doing videos. I'm going to definitely continue to do collaborations with these gentlemen on the weekly roundtables, and with Coach Marsh starting next week. We're going to start doing some in-depth analysis of some of the key free agents that we are like Nick was saying, guys, should we keep or not keep? And we're going to break down and take a look at kind of what their seasons have been looking like, and analyze some of their performances and techniques, and get Coach Marsh's take on who we should keep or not keep. So that'll be fun to do. We'll be bringing those back. I'm not sure, Monday or Tuesday, one of those 2 days, we're going to be doing the Coach's Corner. It might be a new time, so keep an eye out for that. Roundtable will be on the Wednesdays. But what I'm really excited about is, now that the games are over and there's no games to look forward to, well, I plan to help you with that right there, because as you guys know, the Madden thing is alive and well. I'm so into it now. I've spent, not quite a full season, but this past half or so of a season getting to finally really know what Madden's about. And I've learned quite a bit just from practice, but also from all you guys who've given me so many good coaching tips. And I'm going to continue to do that. But I'm going to do a couple more things. I'm going to expand on the Madden world, since we don't have real games to do. So I'm threefold. One is I'm going to actually reenact the entire 2012 20 season from start to finish and just kind of replay the games and see what would happen if I played those games over again and redid the whole season. How would it have gone? How would it be? And how would our record turn out compared to the real thing? So that's aspiration number one. Number two, I want to start getting some 1v1 matches against you guys. And I know if I played Noah, he's probably going to wipe my... kick my butt all over the field, but I don't care. It's going to be fun to do. So I want to get some plays. You guys have been coaching me, and now it's time for me to be the apprentice, taking on the coach itself. So I'm going to have some games definitely set up with you guys to go head to head. And then the final thing is that I've talked about with a few of you guys is that I know that there's the face of the franchise aspect of Madden 21, which I've never clicked on, but Nick has told me about, and I don't know if Noah's done it. You've done it too, right, Noah? I assume. Have you? Mm-hmm. All right. So I know nothing about it except people told me you can start off like a high school player and become a quarterback and become drafted by the Seahawks. That sounds awesome to me. So I'm going to try to go that route. I'm going to try to be the Filipino Russell Wilson in Madden, face of the franchise. So I'm going to do that with you guys coaching me along the way, since that's kind of worked really well and helped me develop my skills. So I'm excited to be doing that. I have no idea how long it takes. I know it's not like a one-game process. It's a layered thing. So we'll probably just take it one step at a time. Yeah. So I can't wait to do it. I'm going to literally do it as if I've never played before, or not been. I will have never played before. So I'll basically be going, okay, guys, I'm doing face of franchise. What do I do? Where do I start? And help coach me through this thing so you can help NorbCam become the Filipino face of the franchise, Russell Wilson 2.0 Filipino style in Madden 21. So that's going to be my other thing that I'm planning to do. So lots to do, a lot of fun, but I can't wait to do it, especially with your guys' help. And so that's those are the highlights. Other things to come as well, but those are the things definitely want to try launching as we get this off season rolling. And of course, we got free agency. We're gonna have the draft and all that good stuff. So we'll right be here taking it and talking about breaking news like Golden Tate come back to the Seahawks. Who knew? Alina Dahl, thank you for that. I can't wait to watch that and see. We caught it. We broke that right here last week. All right, that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. And to my panel, thank you guys. Steve Z.A. Smith, DJ Squabo, Nick LeBeau. Love you guys. Thanks for being on here. And to everybody who super chatted, I appreciate your guys' support. And to everybody who was just here to watch, call in, and talk football, and just listen to us talk football, greatly appreciated. Just keep it going. It doesn't have to end right here because these little screens right here, there are videos to click onto. So just click on the one right here. Somewhere over here, there's one. Or maybe you'll catch something over here. But just check it out. Don't go anywhere. Just keep watching. Talk to you later. Go Hawks.